California at Brookside Park for Game 2 of the head-to-head series between the Santa Barbara Foresters and the Arroyo Seco Saints. My name is Stephen Baltier. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez, and we are on the call for Game 2 of this game here in the head-to-head series between the Saints and Foresters. Last night in Game 1, the Foresters able to get the better part of the Saints, winning 11-7 on 10 runs in the first 3 innings of that game last night. On the mound today for the Saints, going to be Colin King, the starter, and the starting lineup for the Santa Barbara Foresters is going to go ahead and be as said. Leading off for the Foresters is going to be number 17, playing center field, Logan Allen. Batting second is going to be Luke Ritter, and he's going to be playing right field. Batting third is going to be John Jensen, playing left field. Batting fourth and batting cleanup is Chase Illig, and he's going to be the designated hitter. Batting fifth is going to be Tyler Hardman, the first baseman. Batting sixth is going to be Ryan Cash, and playing third base. Batting seventh is going to be Utah Jones, playing shortstop. Batting eighth is going to be the second baseman, Christian Gambali. And batting ninth is going to be Cameron Guangarena, and he's going to be behind the plate. Anthony, go ahead and give the starting defensive alignment for the Arroyo Seco Saints.
So you said it, on the mound for the Saints is going to be right-handed pitcher Colin King. He'll be given the start tonight. And then catching for the Saints is going to be number 15, Nick Lacayo, out of Michigan State. At first base is going to be John Thomas from USC. He was DHing last night. You'll see him right there in the number 3 position. And at second base is going to be Cameron Briggs tonight. And at shortstop is going to be from Cal Poly Pomona, Drew Cowley. And starting at third today is going to be Alex LaForester. And in the outfield, in left, we've got Roy Verdejo from Masters University. Jack Smith is in center field from Arizona State. And rounding out our lineup in right field is going to be Christian Moya from USC.
There you have it. Those are the starting lineups and defensive alignment for the Arroyo Seco Saints and the Santa Barbara Foresters. We're just about ready for first pitch here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. As King's first pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. 0-1 now the count here on Logan Allen. The Arroyo Seco Saints come into the season 2-3 overall and 2-2 in CCL play. The Santa Barbara Foresters come in 4-0 and 2-0 in CCL play so far this season. A little bit of a delayed game down the right field line. As King's second pitch to Allen is grounded to third base. Short hop, able to come up with it, throw it over to John Thomas as he hops on the base, but still able to carry him that for the first out of the top of the first inning for the Saints. 3 pitches, 1 out now for the Arroyo Seco Saints.
Great to see the Saints get this game started off by getting a quick out, something they were unable to do yesterday, and we saw how that went.
Now up for the Saints is going to be Luke Ritter, the right fielder for the Santa Barbara Foresters. As he flies that one out to right field, Christian Moya has to beat on it. And he gets under that one, Kareem's it for the second out of the inning so far. So Colin King, 2 batters, 2 outs so far in the top of the first inning for the Saints.
Very key for these guys to start off the game like this. We mentioned it yesterday, just having trouble getting early outs in the innings, and it really snowballed. And, I mean, a big point to all that, stolen bases. That's what this team can do, and so keeping them off the bases, won't have to deal with that.
Stepping up to the plate now for the Foresters is going to be John Jensen. The left fielder just takes a strike on the outside corner from King. 0-1 now the count on Jensen. As we mentioned, the Saints last night lost 11-7 to the Foresters. Second pitch now to Jensen. He fouls that one off his shin. And that one got a piece of him. He's going to go ahead and take a step out of the box real quick, regather himself. 0-2 now the count still on Jensen. Colin King from Regis University. And his third pitch to Jensen is a fastball high and outside. 1-2 now the count on Jensen. So 1-2 now the count on Jensen. This is fastball. Strike 3 right there for the third out of the inning. So a 1-2-3 inning for Colin King in the top of the first. No runs, no hits for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Coming up to the bat now for the Arroyo Seco Saints is going to be Drew Cowley, Jack Smith, and Christian Moyer. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back here to Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. My name is Stephen Baltier. Alongside me is my partner, Alejandro Alondres, and Anthony Alejandres, excuse me there, sorry about that one.
No problem.
On the mound for the Santa Barbara Foresters is going to be Dane Ackert from Rice University. What can you tell a little bit about him about us, Anthony?
So right-handed pitcher out of Rice University, as you said. And, curious to see how many innings this guy goes tonight, because last night they really utilized that bullpen big time. It was a bullpen game for them, as we saw, I believe, 5 different pitchers in the game.
As Drew Cali steps to the plate for the Saints, he takes a fastball outside high. 1-0 the count now here on Drew Cali. Drew Cali last night, 1 for 3 on the night in the loss to the Foresters with 1 walk from Cal Poly Pomona. As Acker's next pitch is a fastball low. 2-0 the count now here on Cali. Last night, as we mentioned, the Saints kind of got off to a slow start, gave up 10 runs in the first 3 innings of that ball game. Were able to claw back in the later innings, but weren't able to mount a big enough comeback to come back from that big deficit. As the third pitch now, it's a fastball high and outside. 3-0 now the count on Drew Cali.
And one of the centerpieces to that comeback, actually contributing to it a lot, was the defensive errors by Santa Barbara in, I believe it was the 4th inning of the game. Specifically, Chase Illig behind the plate really struggled despite having a great game hitting. And I mean, we see today different guy behind the plate, and Chase Illig keeping his bat in the lineup as DH.
3-0 pitch to Cali is a fastball low and inside. That's a 4-pitch walk to Drew Cali to lead off the bottom of the first inning here for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Stepping in for the Saints now is going to be center fielder Jack Smith from Arizona State. Now, he hasn't played baseball at Arizona State so far this season, or the past season, but he was a football player for the Sun Devils. Now he's going to transition to baseball. Had a pretty good game on Saturday afternoon against the San Diego Force. Had a triple-double. Was a home run shy of the cycle on that afternoon.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that he hadn't played baseball in a while with stats like that from what he put up on that Saturday game.
So already leading off where he started. Takes a strike there. 0 for 1 now at the count on Jack Smith. As we mentioned, Smith, a former football player for the Sun Devils of the Pac-12. As Acker gets set, looks over to Cali. As Cali takes off, and he slides in there safe to second base. So that was an interference on the batter. Jack Smith has to go back to first base after Jack Smith swung around to bunt. Was not able to get it down. Umpire calls interference on Smith. So Cali now has to go back to first base. The stolen base is reverted, and we're back to 1 out now here with runner on first base.
Yeah, throw a little wide anyway going in at the second base bag. Shortstop had to really go out for that one, and fortunately for the Saints, doesn't end up paying off.
So 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning, and Christian Moya from USC is going to go ahead and step into the box for the Saints. Acker's first pitch is a fastball high and inside. 1-0 the count now here on Moya. Moya had a home run on Sunday afternoon against the San Luis Obispo Blues. And that 14-6 win over the Blues. 1-0 the count now here on Christian Moya as Cali leads from first. Ackers. Second pitch is a strike on the outside corner. 1-1 now the count on Moya. Moya, another Pac-12 kid coming from USC. And behind him is going to be John Thomas, the big hitter for the Saints, also from USC. As Acker throws over to first base, not in time, Cali gets back safely. So 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning for the Saints. The leadoff walk by Drew Cali. And Acker looks over. His 1-1 pitch is a changeup down in the dirt. 2-1, and Cali thought of going on that pitch, but reluctantly came back and scampered back to first base. So Moya, 2-1 now count on him with 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Prime position for the Saints so far. As Acker gets set, the 2-1 pitch to Moya as he lines that one to second base. Able to scoop it up, looks over to second, but throws it on to first to Moya to get the second out of the inning as Cali moves into scoring position at second base now with 2 outs. And that's going to bring up John Thomas, the big hitter for the Saints from USC.
John Thomas had another good game yesterday for the Saints. Really a big part of their comeback. 2 for 4, 1 RBI, 1 walk, and a run scored. And, I mean, that's kind of been a big theme of their season so far is the bat of John Thomas.
Yeah, John Thomas has kind of solidified that cleanup spot for the Saints so far. As you mentioned, 2 for 4 with 2 singles on the afternoon last night in the loss to the Foresters. So Callie leads from second base on the leadoff walk. Acker looks over. The first pitch of Thomas is a fastball in the outside corner. 0-1 now the count on John Thomas. So this Forester lineup is nothing to really play with. If you're the Saints, you want to start off hot right here. Get on the board first.
Absolutely.
Keep that lead. Shortstop shades back over. Zachary goes to the plate, and John Thomas drills that one to the left center field gap. And he's going to go ahead and make the last out of the inning and carry him that for the third out. We leave 1 runner on base, so no hits, 1 walk in the inning. We head to the top of the second inning here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. For the Arroyo Seco Saints against the Santa Barbara Foresters. Stepping into the plate now for the Foresters, going to be their big cleanup hitter, Chase Illig, who had a big night last night for the Foresters. Anthony, go ahead and talk about that big night.
3 for 4 at the plate, 2 runs scored, 4 RBIs and a walk. Really did it all for them last night hitting-wise, and in the DH spot today for them. And really telling his batting average so far, .647 to start the season.
As he grounds that one down the first baseline, just foul. 1-1 now the count on Chase Illig. So as you mentioned, Chase Illig had a big night last night for the Foresters, kind of capping off their big overall night as an offense.
And 11 for 17 on the season so far.
So having a hot start to the season so far for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
Hit a home run into center field last night as well.
So as I mentioned, the Foresters start off the season 4-0 so far, 2-0 in CCL play. As the third pitch, as he lines that one into the right center field gap, that's going to go ahead and roll to the wall. Moya's going to go over to cut it off at the warning track, gets it in, and he's going to go ahead and see the standing up double for Chase Illig as he stays hot to start the season, and a leadoff double for the Foresters already in scoring position.
Just like that, doing the same stuff he was doing yesterday on offense, continuing his hot start to the season. And if you're the Saints, you really don't want to see this early in the game because, I mean, this is a team here, Santa Barbara, that they score a lot of runs. They've done it so far in these first 4 games of the season. The lowest they've scored in a game in these first 4 is 7 runs.
So Chase Illig starts the season hot so far for the Foresters. That's going to go ahead and bring up Tyler Hardman, the first baseman for the Foresters. He takes a fastball low and outside. 1-0 the count now here on Hardman. So Illig leads off the top of the second inning with a leadoff double into the right center field gap. As King gets set, looks over to Illig at second base. Here comes the 1-0 pitch as a fastball in there for a strike. 1-1 now the count on Hardman.
This Hardman's first at-bat of the season.
So Hardman again, his first start of the season for the Foresters. Comes up with a big spot here in the top of the second inning. King already in a jam. Looks over to Illig at second base. Illig dancing over that second, and King's going to go ahead and step off. So Illig not only causing a havoc at the plate, but also on the base pass for the Foresters to start the season. King gets set, looks over to Illig. Callie shades over, and he's going to go ahead and step off once again. So Illig over there causing trouble for Colin King on the mound so far for the Saints.
Yep, stolen base is a big part of what this team does. They had 7 yesterday before 7 outs were even recorded.
Like you mentioned, 7 stolen bases, 10 overall, as Illig dancing around once again. And the 1-1 pitch to Hardman's a curveball, low and outside. 2-1 now the count on Tyler Hardman. This Foresters lineup so far this season, one of the better lineups in the CCL. King looks over to Illig as Hardman drives that one down the third baseline foul. 2-2 now the count on Tyler Hardman. So Colin King already in the jam, no outs in the inning. Kind of seems to be a trend so far for Saints pitchers, falling behind in counts, giving up early runs in games so far this season.
Yeah, we've seen it these last couple home games where they, let a couple runners on before retiring their first batter of the inning. Really made things tough on them, having to pitch out of the stretch.
Hardman grounds that one to shortstop to Callie. Callie throws over to Thomas. High once again, but Thomas keeps his foot on the back for the first out of the inning as Illig moves over to third base here.
Thomas really had to stretch out to get that one, but nonetheless makes the play and gets the out.
So 1 out in the top of the second inning so far. That's going to go ahead and bring up Ryan Cash, the third baseman for the Foresters, with Illig standing at third base and in scoring position. So Illig leading from third base. Colin King gets set. His first pitch is a ground ball to second base. And Briggs going to go ahead and throw it over to first base to John Thomas for the second out of the inning, but not before Illig scores the first run of the ball game for the Foresters and the first run of this game overall. And the Foresters take a 1-0 lead in this game. So the Foresters starting hot once again after a big game 1 against the Saints. It's going to go ahead and bring up shortstop Utah Jones for the Foresters. As Colin King's first pitch is a fastball in the dirt. 1-0 the count now here on Utah Jones.
A lot of big hits last night for the Foresters. Utah Jones didn't have a great night at the plate, though. Went 0 for 4. Did have an RBI in the game, I believe on a fly out. Took a walk. But nonetheless, 0 for 4 in that game, in a game where a lot of big hits came up for the Foresters.
So Utah Jones, one of the low spots for the Foresters last night, if you want to call it that, when you win 11-7. Hot day here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Will soon cool down as the sun sets. As Utah Jones flies that one out to left field, coming in is Verdejo, and he's going to go and make that catch for the third out of the inning, but not before a run scores for the Foresters. 1 hit, no walks, and after we get to the bottom of the second here near Jackie Robinson Field, Santa Barbara Foresters 1, Arroyo Seco Saints 0. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back in here to Jackie Robinson Memorial Field as the Foresters have a 1-0 lead over the Arroyo Seco Saints. Stepping up to the plate for the Saints is going to be Roy Verdejo from Masters College as he gets his first start of this series, starting in left field for the Saints, and he digs in against Ackert. So Dane Ackert, the product of Rice University. The first pitch to Verdejo is a fastball outside low. 1-0 the count now here on Roy Verdejo.
Roy got a home run a couple days ago here at a ballpark where you never get a cheap home run at.
You have to earn your home runs here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. There's a 1-0 pitch to Verdejo. There's a fastball, and then he lines that one out of play. 1-1 now the count now here on Verdejo. As you mentioned, he had a 2-run home run against the San Diego Force on Saturday afternoon to right center field. One of the deeper part of the ballparks here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. The dimensions here are 374 down the left field line, 364 straight away center field, and 345 down the right field line. As Verdejo grounds that one to third base, coming up with it, thrown over to first base for the first out of the inning, and one out here in the bottom of the second inning for the Saints.
Every ballpark has their unique quirks, and you just mentioned the dimensions of this one that really make Jackie Robinson Field at Brookside Park one of the more unique parks in the California Collegiate League. Biggest or most ground to cover down the left field line, and then goes down to 345 down the right field line. Just a unique quirk to this place.
Stepping in now for the Saints is going to be the designated hitter, Mitch Kerner. Is undecided on what college he's going to attend as he takes a fastball up. 1-0 the count now here on Mitch Kerner. So 1-0 count now here on Kerner as Dane Acker gets set. The 1-0 pitch to Kerner is a fastball low and outside. 2-0 the count on Mitch Kerner. That fastball just misses. So Acker gets set. The 2-0 pitch now to Kerner is going to be a fastball in there, and he fouls that one straight back. 2-1 now the count on Kerner. And as you mentioned, this dimensions to this ballpark, 374 down the left field line is the farthest part of this ballpark. So not a traditional ballpark in terms of the dimensions across from left to center to right field. Usually center field is the farthest part of the ballpark, but not here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. It's a 2-1 pitch. Kerner drives that one up the middle, and that's going to go ahead and get through into center field for the second hit of the afternoon. First hit of the afternoon for the Saints. In the bottom of the second inning, we have a one-out single for Mitch Kerner.
And for Mitch Kerner, first hit of the season for him. It's only a second at-bat, but nonetheless, first hit of the season for him. And gets the ball rolling here for the Saints.
So Kerner batting .500 on the season. Pretty easy math there. Now stepping up to the plate now for the Saints is going to be Nick Lacayo from Michigan State as he gets the start tonight. Started on Saturday afternoon against the Force in that loss to the Force. Zacher gets set, looks over to Kerner, takes a big lead as a fastball in the dirt there to Lacayo. 1-0 the count now here on Nick Lacayo.
Lacayo hitting .250 so far here to start the season through these first few games. Only got the start in that one game thus far, though.
So the Saints threaten here once again in the bottom of the second inning like they did in the bottom of the first. As a fastball's in there for a strike now to Lacayo. 1-1 now the count on Nick Lacayo. Looking at the Saints so far, they won their first game against the OC Riptide 6-2. Went over to Fullerton College to play the OC Riptide in a home-and-home series and lost 7-3. Lost to the San Diego Force in a non-league matchup on Saturday afternoon, 14-7. Went on to beat the San Luis Obispo Blues 14-6 on Sunday afternoon. As Lacayo fouls that one off the knob, 1-2 now the count on Nick Lacayo. As I mentioned, they beat the San Luis Obispo Blues 14-6 on Sunday afternoon. Then the Foresters came here on Tuesday night and beat the Saints 11-7. So the Saints trying to bounce back. As Lacayo steps into the plate and Kerner leads from first base. Ackert gets his sign. The 1-2 pitch now to Lacayo. He drives that one up the middle once again. So the Saints now have runners in scoring position In the bottom of the second inning with only one out, back-to-back singles up the middle for the Saints by Kerner and Lacayo, and that's going to go ahead and bring up Alec LaForestier, the third baseman from the University of Pacific.
Yeah, you said it. Grounder right up the center. And now we got runner in scoring position here, and Alex LaForester to the plate. Really a good chance for him to break out of a little bit of a slump that he started out the season in here. Still looking for his first hit.
So Alec LaForestier didn't get the start last night for the Saints, but in the lineup now and in a big spot here in the bottom of the second inning already. Acker gets his sign, looks over to second base, and a fastball high and outside. 1-0 the count now here on LaForestier. So the Saints once again have runners on base. A big trend for the Saints so far this season has been leaving runners on base throughout the season and in games. Left 12 against the OC Riptide in Friday's game as LaForestier takes a fastball low and inside. 2-0 the count now here on Alex LaForestier. They left 10 runners on base in their opening game against the OC Riptide to start the season. So 2-0 the count now here on LaForestier. Ackerd falling behind once again to the left-handed hitter from the University of Pacific. As Lacayo leads from first base. Kerner leads from second. LaForestier takes a fastball outside corner. 2-1 now the count on Alex LaForestier. So what do you need to see from the Saints so far, Anthony, in this game to kind of improve from last game and the previous games in the past?
Well, I think that right now what they're doing, even just getting runners on base here early in the game, because that was something we didn't really see until they were already in a huge hole in the game. So now 1-0 game, still big opportunities for them.
Acker fires in a fastball for a strike. 2-2 now the count on Alex LaForestier. Especially against the Santa Barbara Foresters lineup, you want to start hot, get off to an early lead. You see the Foresters already have a 1-0 lead in this game and rolling the bottom of the second inning.
You said it, and you can't miss opportunities to score against this team given how many runs they've been scoring here to start this season.
So the 2-2 pitch from Acker now to LaForestier. A curveball in the dirt. 3-2 now the count on LaForestier. So a full count now here on LaForestier. Runners on first and second.
4 games in the season, Santa Barbara Foresters, 11 runs scored in each of 2 of those games, and 7 runs scored in the other 2 in each. So a team that scores a lot of runs, can't miss opportunities to score against them.
So a Goliath of an offense for the Foresters. As Ackerd steps off right there.
And if it's any consolation for the Saints last night, 7 runs is the best anybody's put up against the Foresters so far to start this season.
So LaForestier steps into the plate. The full count now here is a fastball high and outside, and that's a walk to LaForestier. And that's going to go ahead and load the bases for the Saints and bring up Cameron Briggs from UC Davis. So Ackerd walks LaForestier, gives a back-to-back single to Lacayo and Kerner. And we have bases loaded, only 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. Going to bring up Cameron Briggs, who got the start last night for the Saints. Went 0 for 4 with 1 RBI and 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, tough outing last night for Cameron Briggs, but certainly big opportunity here to get them in this game very early.
So Ackerd, first pitch now to Briggs is a fastball inside, and it's a ball once again now here to lead off the at-bat to Briggs. So 1-0 count now here on Cameron Briggs, and Ackerd's going to go ahead and fall behind once again. It's going to draw a mound visit from manager Bill Bintard of the Santa Barbara Foresters.
This is the kind of stuff we saw from the Saints late in the game last night. Didn't see it enough early on in the game, and, well, they ended up mounting a pretty big comeback, and good to see more of this at least early in the game when it's only a 1-run ball game.
As you mentioned, the Saints fell behind 10-0 early in the first part of that game. Were able to claw back and put together some runs in the later part, but wasn't enough so far, as they lost 11-7 that night.
Yeah, one thing we've seen from them so far in a couple of these bigger losses they've had earlier in the season, a team that has been resilient, not giving up when down by a lot of runs. Last night, double-digit deficit, end up losing the game by 4 runs, closing it to as much as 3 at one point. And, of course, Saturday against San Diego, still scored 7 runs in a game where they gave up 14 to the San Diego Force.
So the home plate umpire breaks up the meeting at the mound. And we're back to playing now here. Bases loaded, 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. Cameron Briggs at the plate. 1 out count on him. Acker gets set. The 1-0 pitch now to Briggs is a fastball, and he grounds that one over to second base. Looks to second, throws it over to second. Does not get the man at first base, so Briggs is going to be safe at first. It's going to score a run, the first run of the game for the Saints, as Mitch Kerner comes into the plate now for the Saints. And we have a 1-1 tie here in the bottom of the second inning.
Getting on the board here in a big way early on, and still with the potential to score more runs here. Very fortunate not to end up having a double play there, and now just like that, you've got a runner on third.
So stepping up to the plate now for the Saints is going to be Drew Cowley, leadoff man from Cal Poly Pomona, who walked in his first at-bat this afternoon. So the Saints already back at the top of the order. Batted around once here and only in the bottom of the second inning.
Drew Cowley 1 for 3 last night. 1 run scored, 1 walk.
As Acker throws over to first base of Briggs, he gets back in safely. So runners at the corners now for the Saints, and 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. As Lacayo's at third base and Briggs at first base on the ground ball RBI for Cameron Briggs. Acker gets set as Briggs takes off as in the strike, and he's going to be called out at second base in time for the third out of the bottom of the second inning, but not before the Saints tie it up in the bottom of the second inning on 3 hits, 1 walk, and 1 run in the bottom of the second inning. We're going to head to the top of the third inning. Arroyo Seco Saints 1, Santa Barbara Foresters 1. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. We're back here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field for the Arroyo Seco Saints versus the Santa Barbara Foresters. As the Saints tied it in the bottom of the second inning. So, we have a tie ball game here in the top of the third inning. And the first pitch from King is a ball, 1-0 the count now here on Christian Gambali, the second baseman for the Foresters. As Gambali drives that one into deep left field. Verdejo going back on it. That's going to go ahead and one bounce the wall. Gambali round second base. He's going to go ahead and hold up there at second base as the Saints bring it in for a leadoff double to lead off the top of the third inning for the Santa Barbara Foresters, and already in business with nobody out here for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
A lot of ground there for Roy Verdejo to cover to try and track down that ball. Deepest part of the ballpark, as we talked about earlier, and they lead off the inning with a hit.
So that's going to go ahead and bring up the catcher, Cameron Guanguanera. And we have confirmation that is his full, complete name, Guanguanera. As he steps in for the Foresters, their catcher for the Foresters, after Gambali with the leadoff double here in the top of the third inning for the Foresters.
We weren't given much of a chance with that name there. Very long last name. I assumed it was split into 2, and Cameron is spelled with a K.
So Cameron spelled with a K. Guanguanera, one full name, so a bit of an interesting name for the Foresters catcher. As Colin King looks over to Gambali. Nobody out here in the top of the third inning. And the first pitch to Guan Garena is a fastball in the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 now the count on Guan Garena.
Cameron Guangarena out of La Mirada, California, where we'll actually be for several games this year against the SoCal Catch. They play at Biola University in La Mirada.
So Guan Garena, a pretty local kid over here from Southern California. As King looks over once again at Gambali. The next pitch is a fastball in the outside corner once again for a strike. 0-2 now the count on Guan Garena. As you mentioned, the SoCal Catch, one of the teams in the CCL, playing out of Biola University in La Mirada, California, the home for Guan Garena. Left-handed batter is Guan Garena. He steps in as King gets set, looks over to Gambali. 0-2 count now here, and the fastball is outside now. 1-2 now count now here on Cameron Guan Garena.
For the Saints, that first visit to Biola University to play the SoCal Catch, that's actually, that'll come up at the end here, the first month of the season. The 29th, they'll have a home-and-home series. They'll play the 29th out at Biola University and then come back home on the 30th for a 6:05 game.
Biola University plays in the Pac West Conference Division II baseball. As King gets set, looks over to Gambali. As Juan Garena flies that one out to shallow left field, Verdejo comes in, is camped underneath it, comes it in, brings it in for the first out of the top of the inning for the Saints. So Gambali scampers over back to second base, and one out here, and that's going to go ahead and bring up the top of the lineup for the Foresters and center fielder Logan Allen.
Logan Allen hit leadoff for them yesterday, went 3 for 6, scored 4 times in the game.
One of the bright spots for the Foresters lineup. Obviously, if he's leading off, he's doing something right at the plate for this Forester lineup. As King gets set, looks over to Gambali. No one shading over. The first pitch now to Allen is a fastball inside. 1-0 the count now here on Logan Allen. So Allen so far in the afternoon 0 for 1. One out here in the top of the third inning for the Saints. This King's next pitch is a curveball outside. 2-0 the count now here on Logan Allen. So King falls behind on Allen now 2-0 with only one out, and Gambali leading from second base. The Saints trying to keep this game at a tie ball game and get back in the dugout. As King looks over, Briggs shouting over to Gambali, and King steps off and resets right here on a 2-0 count to Logan Allen. So Colin King, the native of Phoenix, Arizona, by way of Regis University, and the 2-0 pitch now to Allen's a fastball inside for a strike. 2-1 now the count on Logan Allen. So Colin King trying to work his way back into this count after giving up the leadoff double to Christian Gambali. Gambali leads from second. The curveball is low and outside. Now 3-1 now the count on Logan Allen. So Colin King falling behind to the leadoff hitter for the Foresters. The Foresters so far this season 4-0, 2-0 in CCL play. That's good enough for first place in the CCL. Obviously still early in the season for the Foresters. As King steps off, as he's looking over to Gambali, causes havoc at second base. And as we mentioned, this Foresters lineup has been a pesky peasant on the bases for this Saints offense, or the Saints defense, excuse me. That's a 3-1 pitch now to King, and Logan Allen fouls that one down the third base line now. Full count now here on Logan Allen.
Logan Allen hitting .438 so far here on the season, 7 for 16. No surprise there, having him as the leadoff man for this Foresters lineup. And we talked about his stats from yesterday. They really tell the story.
So full count now here on Logan Allen. As King gets set, looks over to Gambali. Briggs shading over, goes back to his position, and a fastball high, and he walks Allen right now to put runners at first and second and bring up Luke Ritter, the right fielder for the Foresters. So runners now at first and second for the Foresters. One out in the inning after Gambali's leadoff double.
Luke Ritter 3 for 4 yesterday, an RBI.
So the top half of the lineup for the Foresters, pretty good so far in this 2-game series. As King shakes off Nakayo, gets set, looks over to Gambali. The first pitch now to Ritter's a fastball up, and he falls behind once again now, 1-0 the count on Luke Ritter. It's been a common theme for the Saints pitching staff, falling behind on batters and having to work their way back in counts and give up doubles and singles and RBIs to different opponents.
Yep, got to be unsettling, too, having guys in scoring position as often as they have.
As a fastball almost hits Ritter on that pitch now, 2-0 the count on Luke Ritter. And Kyle's going to go ahead and visit his pitcher right now and try to settle him down and get him back in the rhythm. So if you're Kyle right here, what are you trying to tell Colin King? Kind of settle him down after that good 1-2-3 first inning. We're in the top of the third inning now. Runners on first and second with 1 out.
Well, despite giving up that 1 run last inning, had a pretty solid first 2 innings here, really, and wasn't in a situation anything like this. So I think it's just a matter of getting him back, getting that confidence back that he had going in these first 2 innings of the game, getting these final 2 outs.
So Colin King gets set, looks over to Gambali for second. And the fastball just misses now. 3-0 the count on Luke Ritter, the right fielder for the Foresters. So he's falling behind 3-0. He walked Logan Allen after drawing the count to a full count. And he's on the verge of walking another batter and loading the bases for the Foresters. Colin King's fastball now is a strike in there. 3-1 now, the count on Luke Ritter. So trying to avoid another walk here. And loading the bases for John Jensen, the number 3 hitter for the Foresters. Colin King working fast now. The 3-1 pitch now is a fastball up, and he's going to go ahead and walk Ritter and bring up Jansen now with the bases loaded and only one man out in the top of the third inning. So John Jansen steps up to the plate now for the Foresters.
Jensen just 1 for 5 last night.
So big moment in this game already for the Saints and Foresters. On the top of the third inning, but the Foresters have a chance to break this one open early. So fastball's in there, and he drives that one to the deep right field. Moya stepping back at the wall, at the warning track, steps up, and that ball's going to get out of here for a grand slam by John Jensen, and that game is broken open now as the Foresters lead 5-1 here in the top of the third inning, and Jansen just broke this ball game wide open.
One thing that needed to be avoided in this game, they had multiple yesterday, the big inning, and there it is right here for the Santa Barbara Foresters. So many guys can attack on this team, and there's an example of it right there.
And it's not going to get much better for Colin King as he has to step up against Chase Inlig, the cleanup hitter for the Foresters. And a man who was the player of the game last night for the Foresters, going 3 for 4 on the afternoon.
And for right fielder Christian Moya, sun's still very much up here right now, and it looked like he had trouble trying to find that ball, but in the end, doesn't end up really making much of a difference as that one leaves the ballpark.
So Jansen hits a grand slam here in the top of the third inning. Foresters now lead 5-1 as Illig takes a strike there. Now 1-1 the count now here on Chase Illig. So 2 walks in the inning go ahead and lead to a big inning for the Foresters as Illig drives that one down the right field line and just foul. 1-2 now the count on Chase Illig. So once again, the Foresters start hot, start early, get out to a big lead here in the top of the third inning as they did last night. King steps off the mound, trying to regather himself after that grand slam. That ball kind of carried out here to right field. Didn't look like it was getting out of here, but kind of just drifted out for a grand slam. That's Colin King's fastball. It's fouled right back here, right back to us. 1-2 remains the count on Illig. So this Foresters lineup is no joke so far. Part of the reason they're first place in the CCL. As King gets set. The 1-2 pitch to Illig. He fouls it back once again. 1-2 remains the count. So in the past 5 games so far for the Saints, they've given up 7 runs. As the 1-2 pitch is a curveball down in the dirt now. 2-2 the count on Chase Illig. They've given up 7 runs on last Friday to the OC Riptide. On Saturday afternoon, gave 14 runs to the San Diego Force. Gave up 6 runs to the San Luis Obispo Blues. On Tuesday, as Illig strikes out now here in the changeup, and he gets mad at himself there for the second out of the inning for Colin King in his second strikeout, excuse me. And gave up 11 runs last night and 5 runs so far in this game. So this Saints pitching staff has kind of given up a few bad outings so far in their past 5 games.
Yeah, really tough outings, and definitely doesn't help when you have to face a lineup like this a couple days in a row. A lineup with guys like Chase Illig, who just struck out surprisingly, considering the way he's been hitting here lately. Already 7 extra base hits for him this season.
As Tyler Hardman fouls that one back as he steps into the plate. 0-1 now the count on Tyler Hardman. So a leadoff double by Christian Gambali, a strikeout by Juan Garena, a walk by Logan Allen, a walk by Luke Ritter, and a grand slam by John Jensen to open this game up for the Foresters. As the 0-1 pitch now to Hardman's a curveball on the outside and misses. 1-1 now the count on Tyler Hardman.
Tyler Hardman getting his first start of the season here for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
As King's pitch is a curveball low. Did he check his swing? First place umpire said yes, he did. 1-2 now the count on Tyler Hardman. So 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. 1-2 the count to Tyler Hardman after a grand slam by John Jansen. And a curveball just misses low. 2-2 now the count on Tyler Hardman.
Even with the power they have in this lineup, one thing that's been a big key for the Foresters here, they've been very patient at the plate.
Hardman drives that one into center field. Jack Smith deep to center field, and he gets underneath that one for the 3rd out of the inning. So Colin King strikes out 2 batters in this inning, but not before he gives up the big grand slam to John Jensen to open this ball game up as the Foresters lead 5-1 over the Arroyo Seco Saints. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 3rd inning. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back into Jackie Robinson Field here in beautiful Pasadena, California. As the game is now 5-1, Santa Barbara Foresters lead over the Arroyo Seco Saints, and that's going to go ahead and bring up Drew Cowley, the leadoff man for the Saints, as he walked in his first at bat against Acker. So Dane Acker gets on the mound now here to start the bottom of the 3rd inning. As Drew Cowley steps in, takes a fastball outside, 1-0 the count now here on Drew Cowley.
Cowley, a product of Cal Poly Pomona, one of the many relatively local products we've got here.
Cal Poly Pomona, the Division II school. As he takes a fastball outside, 2-0 the count now here on Drew Cowley. Another Cal Poly Pomona baseball player on the Saints team, Brendan McKenzie, who's not in the lineup right now for the Saints. So the 2-0 pitch now to Drew Cowley is a fastball, and he fouls that one right back out of here. 2-1 now the count on Cowley. Now, as I mentioned, John Jansen in the top half of this inning had a grand slam after Colin King gave up a leadoff double to Gambale and 2 straight walks. Jansen came up, hit a home run to right center field for a grand slam as Cowley drives out one into left field. But the left fielder go ahead and camps right underneath it for the first out of the bottom of the 3rd inning. 1 out here, and that's going to go ahead and bring up Jack Smith.
You mentioned Brendan McKenzie a moment ago out of Cal Poly Pomona. He got the start in left field yesterday and didn't, not a whole lot in the stat line there for him, but one thing he really needs to be given a lot of credit for, great defensive play he had yesterday in left field, really had to track down one, showed off a lot of speed there and probably saved a run or two from scoring.
So Jack Smith now steps in for the Saints. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning for the Saints. And Dane Ackert's first pitch to Smith is a fastball inside. 1-0 the count now here on Smith. So Smith, one of the many Pac-12 products on the Saints team, to go along with Christian Moya and John Thomas and Marco Martinez, who are from USC. As a fastball is on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1 now the count on Jack Smith. Smith steps down, calls time now here as the count remains 1-1 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Dane Ackert gets set now. And the 1-1 pitch to Smith is a fastball in there for a strike. 1-2 now the count on Jack Smith. So far in this game, the Saints lineup have gotten runners on base, but only have 1 run to show for it so far this afternoon. Ackert gets set. 1-2 cap pitch now. As Smith strikes out on a curveball in the dirt, the catcher goes up and throws it over to first base to confirm it for the 2nd out of the inning for the Santa Barbara Foresters. And they're going to go ahead and bring up Christian Moya from USC for the Saints. So two batters, 2 outs now here for the Saints. And on the verge of going to having a 1-2-3 inning is Dane Ackert.
Moya batting .250 here so far through the first 4 games of the season. One of the multiple USC products we've got here on the Arroyo Seco Saints.
It is her first home run of the CCL season on Sunday afternoon against the San Luis Obispo Blues. As the first pitch from Ackert is a curveball in there, just misses. 1-0 the count now here on Christian Moya. Moya, the product of Diamond Bar, California, attended South Hills High School in West Covina, California, so a pretty local kid as well for this Saints roster. So 1-0 pitch now to Moya as a fastball in there for a strike. 1-1 now the count on Christian Moya. Moya heralds from the well-renowned high school club team in the San Gabriel Valley Arsenal. Have multiple Major League products on their team. As the 1-1 pitch now as he lines that one into center field for his first hit of the afternoon now here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Christian Moya with a 2-out single up the middle. Going to go ahead and bring up John Thomas, his teammate at USC, and cleanup hitter in this Saints lineup.
John Thomas, our player of the game from the season opening win against the Orange County Riptide. So far leads the team in batting average. Batting .647 so far on the season.
So one of the bright spots for this Saints lineup so far is John Thomas. As his fastball, he takes low. 1-0 the count now here on John Thomas.
Very early in the season, already 11 base hits for John Thomas.
So John Thomas has a 1-0 count now here with 2 outs as Moya leads from first base and Ackert throws over to Moya as he slides in safely. Throws over once again to Moya. So Moya staying in back of the head of Ackert. Ackert trying to keep him honest at first base. as John Thomas steps into the plate now, and Ackford gets set. The 1-0 pitch here to John Thomas is a fastball outside. 2-0 the count now here on John Thomas, the cleanup hitter for the Saints.
For the second night in a row, Saints rocking the all-white uniforms.
As you mentioned, one of the few alternatives they have. As Moya slides back into first base, as Ackford is definitely having a conscious effort to keep Moya honest at first base as he throws over for the third time in this at-bat. As you mentioned, they also have the Arroyo Seco in plain lettering white jerseys and their navy blue away jerseys, as the 2-0 pitch now to John Thomas is a fastball in the outside corner. 3-0 the count now here on Thomas. So the sun's starting to set here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, right behind the beautiful Rose Bowl, one of the most historic sports venues in all of sports, most notably for college football, the Rose Bowl, and the home for UCLA football. So the fastball's in there for a strike now. 3-1 the count on John Thomas.
Yep, home to some of the best football games any of us have ever seen in our lives and probably ever will see.
Most definitely. The 2005 National Championship, the USC versus Texas.
Sure. Rose Bowl a couple years ago, Penn State versus USC.
One of the most notable games in recent history. As a 3-1 pitch to Logan, John Thomas's fastball. He fouls that one out of play now. 3-2 the count on John Thomas. So runner will be most likely going from first base as Christian Moya. As there's a full count of 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning as the Foresters lead the Saints 5-1 on the grand slam by John Jansen in the top of the third inning. So Dane Ackford trying to escape this inning after surrendering the 2-out single from Moya. Ackford gets set. The full count pitch as Moya takes off. Is a ground ball to shortstop. Rather routine. Throws it over to first. Digs it out of the dirt for the third out of the inning. So one hit here in the bottom of the third inning for the Saints, but they have nothing to show for it. We're going to head to the top of the fourth inning on the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Santa Barbara Foresters 5, Arroyo Seco Saints 1.
Now batting the third baseman from Oklahoma State, number 5, Ryan Cash.
So we're back here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field here in the top of the fourth inning as the Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Saints 5-1. And Ryan Cash, the third baseman for the Foresters, steps in as he fouls that one down the left field line. 0-1 now the count on Ryan Cash. So Ryan Cash, the product of Oklahoma State, of the Big 12 Conference. Texas Tech is now in the College World Series as we speak, as Cash drives that one down the first base line, and Thomas makes a great play at first base. Colin King gets over, but not in time, as Ryan Cash legs out the infield single. Not after John Thomas makes a great play at first base to snag that one out of the ground.
Yeah, really hard to tell there who was going to be closest or quickest to the first base bag there. And Thomas elects to throw it to the pitcher there, just not in enough time.
So John Thomas makes a great play there to start the inning, but Colin King can't get over in time as Ryan Cash has an infield single to lead off the top of the 4th inning, and that's going to bring up Utah Jones, the shortstop for the Foresters. So King gets set. The first pitch to Jones is a fastball high and outside. 1-0 the count now here on Utah Jones.
You mentioned Ryan Cash out of Oklahoma State, Big 12. A couple of Big 12 guys here on this Santa Barbara Foresters lineup. Chase Illig out of West Virginia.
As King gets set. He looks over to Cash, throws over. Cash slides in safely. As you mentioned, Cash, one of the few Big 12 guys on this Foresters team. In the College World Series right now, they have a few Big 12 representatives in Texas and Texas Tech. As Colin King gets set, looks over to Cash. The 1-0 pitch now is a fastball strike now. 1-1 to count on Utah Jones. So Utah Jones playing shortstop for the Foresters. Big opportunity in the top of the 4th inning already as the Foresters once again get their leadoff man out after Christian Gambale had a leadoff double in the top of the 3rd inning, which led to the big inning for the Foresters. King gets set, looks over to Cash. Cash dives back in safely as King's trying to keep him honest at first base. So a lot of pickoffs so far from both sides, both pitchers so far in this game, trying to keep the base runners honest in the early part of this game.
Yep, and that's no coincidence after what we saw last night with all the activity on the bases.
10 stolen bases last night for the Santa Barbara Foresters as King gets set. The 1-1 pitch as Cash is off. That's fouled out of play now down to the first base line. 1-2 the count on Utah Jones. So Ryan Cash takes off right after Colin King throws over to him twice.
And just as our Arroyo Seco Saints kind of have a small collection of these Pac-12 guys, it seems the Santa Barbara Foresters, talked about the Big 12 earlier. Just looking at their roster, we got some guys from Texas. We got Oklahoma State, West Virginia. So it seems like we know where they were. We know the games they were watching.
Seems like a Big 12 versus Pac-12 rivalry here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field as Utah Jones takes a fastball outside. 2-2 now the count on Jones. So nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning after the leadoff infield single by Ryan Cash. Great play by John Thomas at first, but Colin King was unable to get over in time. As King gets set, the 2-2 pitch now as Cash is off. And Jones flies that one out to left field for Verdejo. He gets underneath it. Cash going to go ahead and scamper back to first base with one out here in the top of the 4th inning.
Seems these outfielders still having a little bit of trouble with the sun right now. Nonetheless, though, Verdejo makes the play.
So that's going to go ahead and bring up Christian Gambale, who led off the top of the 3rd inning with a double down the left field line for the Foresters. As you mentioned, the sun playing a factor right now in the early part of this game, but as it sets, we'll start to cool down a little bit here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. I know the sun is kind of thrashing our back right now as it sets over the San Gabriel Valley Mountains.
Getting to some much more comfortable temperatures here now, though, than what we were dealing with around game time.
As King throws over to Cash at first, he slides back in safe. So one out here in the top of the 4th inning. Gambale at the plate, who's one for one so far in this game. Ryan Cash at first base as he leads away. Colin King gets set. Throws back over to Cash again. So Cash staying in the head of Colin King so far. As Colin King tries to keep him honest at first base. And King works fast here as Gambale squares around a bunt, pulls it back, strike 0-1 now the count on Christian Gambale. The Arroyo Seco Saints, 2-3 so far this season. 2-2 in CCL play. Their 15th season so far overall for the program and program history. Their 2nd season in CCL baseball as Cash takes off and Gambale fouls that one down the first base line. Logan Thomas shading over in play. Throws it back over to Colin King at first base, who gets Ryan Cash after he steals second but doesn't get back at first base in time and gets doubled off. So we head to the bottom of the 4th inning after a leadoff single from Ryan Cash, but the Foresters are unable to score a run, and the Arroyo Seco Saints turn the double play there We head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Santa Barbara Foresters 5, Arroyo Seco Saints 1. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. So we're back here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field for the bottom of the fourth inning. And stepping up to the plate now for the Arroyo Seco Saints is going to be Roy Verdejo from the Masters College. Left fielder playing left field tonight. Usually DHs for the Saints, but playing defensively in his first defensive start for the Saints this season. So Verdejo's first pitch to him is a fastball in the inside corner for a ball. 1-0 the count now here on Roy Verdejo. So things starting to cool down here in Pasadena, California, as night starts to make way here in Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. As Ackard's second pitch now to Verdejo as a fastball just misses on the inside corner. 2-0 the count now here on Roy Verdejo. So the big play of the game so far comes from the Foresters in the top of the third inning from left fielder John Jensen as he hits a grand slam to open this game up 5-1 lead for the Foresters. As the 2-0 pitch now to Verdejo is a fastball in there for a strike. 2-1 the pitch, 2 on the count now here on Roy Verdejo. As we mentioned, one big hit for the Foresters. It's kind of been the reason this game is wide open. Other than that, both offenses have been relatively quiet so far. As Verdejo takes a big hack and swings and misses. 2-2 in the count now here on Roy Verdejo. It's a big hack for Roy Verdejo, but comes up empty. So 2 balls, 2 strikes now. As Verdejo off the top of the bottom of the Roy Verdejo. It's starting to be a factor in this ball game at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field.
Verdejo batting .333 so far here. The first 4 games.
So one of the better hitters for this Saints offense as a curveball is in there and he swings and misses for the first strikeout of the inning and the first out of the inning. And that's going to go ahead and bring up designated hitter Mitch Kerner, who singled in his first at-bat up the middle for the Saints.
Saints heading on the road here. Following this game will be their first extended road period here early in the season. Ventura County Pirates, Orange County Riptide, and MLB Academy Barons on Saturday. And 2 of those teams actually took each other on just last night MLB Academy Barons and the Orange County Riptide at Fullerton College. And Orange County Riptide took the win in that one 9-4 over the Academy Barons.
So Kerner 0-1 pitch. He swings and misses now 0-2 the count here on Mitch Kerner. Kerner 1 for 1 out the afternoon. As you mentioned, some of the other CCL games taking place so far. As the Saints will hit the road tomorrow, play in Thousand Oaks, California.
Get their first look at the Ventura County Pirates. And, of course, already taken on the Orange County Riptide a couple times, so they'll very familiar with them, but they'll get a game in on the road on Friday against them.
As Kerner fouls out one back now here. 0-2 the count on Mitch Kerner. So 0-2 pitch now coming to Kerner as he fouls that one, grounds that one to third base. Unable to come up with it is going to be the third baseman, Ryan Cash. And we'll see whether they're going to score that, either an error or an infield single for Mitch Kerner. I believe it's going to be an error.
Believe so.
On the third baseman, Ryan Cash, as either way, he's on first base now with one out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And that's going to go ahead and bring up the catcher for the Saints, Nick Lacayo from Michigan State.
Yeah, Cash bobbled it just a little bit there, and then when he went to pick up the ball, just kind of looked like he didn't have his bearings about him. And there ends up being no play there. And now runner on first for the Saints.
So Mitch Kerner grounds over to third base. Ryan Cash unable to come up with it. Commits the error. So the Saints have a runner at first base and Nick Lacayo at the plate as Kerner's first pitch to Lacayo is a fastball in there for a strike. 0-1 now the count on Nick Lacayo. And as you mentioned, tomorrow the Saints will be on the road playing the Ventura County Pirates. It'll be their third road game of the season so far for the Saints. Zacher gets set, looks over to Kerner. The 0-1 pitch, and Lacayo fouls that one down the right field line and out of play. 0-2 now the count on Nick Lacayo. So we only have one out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. 0-2 now the count on Nick Lacayo. Runner at first base is Mitch Kerner. On the air by the third baseman, Ryan Cash. Foresters lead the Saints 5-1 here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Ventura County Pirates just one game into their season so far, and, well, it was a big one. They put up a Santa Barbara Foresters kind of score in that game, 15-6 in their game against a team out of Orange County, not in this league, though.
As Lacayo swings and misses and goes down swinging for the second out of the bottom of the fourth inning. And that's going to bring up Alex LaForestier, the third baseman for the Saints at the University of Pacific. So Lacayo strikes out and his second at-bat of the afternoon. Kerner's still at first base for the Saints. And there's two outs here in the bottom of the fourth inning for the Saints. First pitch now to LaForestier is a fastball on the outside corner. 1-0 the count. So Acker continuously falls behind in counts, but is able to wiggle his way out of damage. One batter after another.
LaForestier taking on the Foresters.
As Acker throws over to Kerner at first base, and Kerner steps back in safe.
A lot of great names amongst these two lineups here. LaForestier taking on the Foresters. Utah Jones on the Foresters.
Utah Jones, Ryan Cash. As the fastball is in there for a strike. 1-1 now the count on Alex LaForestier.
Cameron Guangarena. Never get tired of saying that name.
Juan Garena. One full word. Can't forget the relief pitcher for the Saints, Blake Beers.
Like that one.
So Acker gets set now here. The 1-1 pitch coming to LaForestier is a fastball in the outside corner, just misses, and the catcher for the Foresters looks like he wanted that call but doesn't get it. 2-1 now the count on Alex LaForestier.
Said on last night's game, I'm going to be very disappointed if Utah Jones at some point in his career doesn't make a stop in AAA Salt Lake City for the Salt Lake Bees. The name is too perfect not to go there at some point.
You got to be surprised the University of Utah did not recruit him to play baseball at their school either.
You would think. He'd be
As
able to
LaForestier fouls that one out of play now. 2-2 the count.
Sorry, he'd be able to
Alex
wear
LaForestier.
his first name on the front, last name on the back. That'd work out pretty nice for him.
It's a heck of a name. I was talking amongst the other Saints interns last night, and they were talking about how unique of a name that is.
It is.
To name their kid Utah. I'd love to hear the story behind that one. So Deuce is wild here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Bottom of the fourth. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. One out at first base, Mitch Kerner, as LaForestier fouls that one out of play. Down into the third base dugout of the Saints. 2-2 remains the count here on Alex LaForestier.
I think the most perfect pairing I've ever seen as far as a name tied to a city that they play in. Austin Nola was a prospect that played for the New Orleans Zephyrs in AAA for a year, and I know the fans really embraced him before even knowing anything about him, just purely on the name.
So the 2-2 pitch now to LaForestier's found that to play once again, so 2-2 remains the count on Alex LaForestier. So Alex Nola, is that his name? Excuse me.
I think Austin Nola.
Austin Nola, so N-O-L-A, the initials for New Orleans, Louisiana. Had to embrace that name. Of course you had to embrace that name.
I'm sure they had a lot of custom-made uniforms for that player specifically.
So Wackard gets set, looks over to Kerner at first base. Looks again, the 2-2 pitch now here to LaForestier as he grounds that one over to second base. Gambale throws it over to first base for the final out of the inning. So the Saints leave a runner on first base, so only 1 hit. No runs here as we head to the top of the 5th inning. The Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 5-1. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network.
Saints, number 16 from Cal Poly.
Welcome back in here to Jackie Robinson Field. My name is Stephen Baltier. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez, as we're here for Game 2 of the head-to-head series between the Santa Barbara Foresters and the Arroyo Seco Saints so far. And Game 1 of the series for the Saints, they lost to the Foresters 11-7 last night, as the Saints gave up 10 runs in the first 3 innings of the ball game to the Foresters. As we have a new pitcher now for the Saints, it's going to be number 16, Michael Gomez out of Upland, California. Another product of Cal Poly Pomona. So Colin King's night is done after giving up 5 runs on the night. Makes way for Michael Gomez for the Saints. Stepping up to the plate now for the Foresters is going to be Cam Guangarena, your favorite player on this Foresters team, Anthony.
Yep, love saying that name.
So Guangarena steps into the plate for the Foresters. He fouls that one out of play down the left field line. 0-1 now the count on Guangarena.
And don't want to spend too much more time on this, but I got a little more confirmation on Austin Nola. So the New Orleans Zephyrs actually wore Nola on the front of their jerseys, and so he had it on the front and the back. And interestingly enough, he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So he's from Louisiana native kid. Had to be destined to be. As Guangarena swings and misses on another pitch. 0-2 now the count on Cameron Guangarena.
So a lot of reasons for that community to really embrace a player like Austin Nola. Now
he fouls this one out of play again. And shading over his third baseman as he makes the play down the third base line. That's going to be third baseman for the Saints, Alex LaForestier, as he has to kind of dive into the Saints Saints dugout for the first out of the top of the fifth inning, excuse me. And we have one out here in the top of the fifth, and that's going to go ahead and bring up leadoff hitter for the Foresters, Logan Allen. So a great play by LaForestier to lead off the top of the fifth inning. As Allen squares around a bunt, fouls it out of play now. 0-1 the count now here on Logan Allen.
Got the outfielders at the top of the order here for the Foresters. Center fielder Logan Allen leading off, and now we got our right fielder.
So Allen drives that one into right field past the first and second baseman for another hit, for his first hit of the afternoon. As he's 1 for 2 on the afternoon for the Foresters, and a runner on base with one out here in the top of the fifth inning. That's going to make way for the second batter in this lineup for the Foresters, and third batter of this inning, Luke Ritter, the right fielder for the Foresters, as he walked in his last at-bat and was driven in by John Jensen, the man on deck's grand slam in the top of the third inning. So Michael Gomez gets set. As Allen heads for second base, Lacayo throws it into center field, and Allen's going to go ahead and head for third base, as Jack Smith will not be able to throw him out of third base. So Allen still second, and on Lacayo's wild throw, errant throw to second base, Allen's going to move on to third base with one out here in the top of the fifth.
Yeah, just a poorly placed throw there, nowhere near the second base bag, and unfortunately results in another base given up here in addition to not being able to make that play at second. Now we got a runner at third.
So Luke Ritter came up to this at-bat with a runner and Logan Allen on first base, and now he has a runner and Logan Allen on third base with only one out in the top of the fifth inning. The fastball's in there, grounded over to second base to Craven Biggs, and that's going to drive in another run for the Foresters as they now lead 6-1 as Logan Allen scores on the RBI ground out by Luke Ritter. So Logan Allen, the last batter of this inning, just walked, steals second. Lacayo throws from his knees on an errant throw to second base. Allen moves on to third base, and Luke Ritter grounds out to second base. That's quality textbook baseball, if you ask anybody.
Yep, and early mistakes in yesterday's game was part of the undoing of the Saints, and certainly not something you want to see more of here tonight. Haven't seen a lot of it up until this point, but they're just an example of it.
So that's going to bring up John Jensen, the big man of the afternoon, with the grand slam in the top of the third inning as he swings on misses in two pitches. 0-2 now the count on a hurry on John Jensen. So John Jensen, like I mentioned, the big grand slam in the top of the third. So already 4 RBIs on the afternoon as the Foresters lead the Saints 6-1 in the top of the fifth. So 0-2, 2 outs now here on Jensen as the fastball is high and outside. 1-2 now the count on Jansen. So Logan Allen singles in this right field. Luke Ritter drives him in on the RBI ground ball to second base. The 1-2 pitch down to Jansen, the fastball outside, and he grounds that over to Logan. It takes a weird hop on John Thomas out of play, so it looked like it was in the state fair. But at the last second, takes a weird hop and just goes out foul out of play as John Thomas comes up a little bit shaky at first base, as he might have tweaked his knee a little bit trying to dive for that ball.
Really had to show off some gymnastic skills there to try to make a play on it. Of course, it goes foul anyway, but you know that definitely took John Thomas by surprise there, the odd bounce that ball took.
One of these funky bounces here at this Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, so this field is not immune from bad hops and weird placed balls. So Michael Thomas, fastball on the inside corner, just misses as Lacayo wanted that pitch, but no cigar. 2-2 now the count on John Jansen. So Deuce is wild once again here at the Rob. As the lights start to turn on here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. The 2-2 pitch now to Jansen is a fastball in there, and he drives that one into right field. Moya's not going to be able to get to it. That ball's going to carry him off the wall. Moya gets it into the cutoff man, but Jansen's going to have a stand-up double for his second hit of the afternoon. And he has a home run and a double so far in this game.
Now batting the designated hitter from West Virginia.
Moya really had a lot of ground to cover on that one. If anything, if any consolation there, I mean, he was just getting a hold of that ball when the runner was already past first base, and fortunately for the Saints, not having a runner on third yet again here, as we've already seen this inning.
So Jansen making Moya work out there in right field as he hits a fly ball home run over his head in the top of the third and hits a double down the right field line as Moya's working. That's a first pitch now to Chase Illigs. A fastball in there for a strike. 0-1 now the count on the designated hitter for the Foresters. Chase Illig struck out in his last at-bat.
Definitely not a guy you want at the plate with a runner in scoring position if you're the Saints. The last guy you'd want.
So the Foresters already threatened now here. As Illig fouls that one out of play now. 0-2 in a hurry, the count on Chase Illig. So Jansen stays hot in this game. The number 3 hitter for the Foresters. Last night it was the number 4 hitter, and the man up at the plate right now is Chase Illig, who was the player of the game. And Jansen looked like the early candidate for the player of the game so far tonight.
Looking to be the case here, and yesterday's player of the game for the Foresters up at the plate.
As he grounds out one down the third base line, fouling out of play. 0-2 remains the count on Chase Illig. So 6-1 now the score here in Pasadena, California. The Saints trail now by 5 runs in the top of the 5th inning on the RBI ground out by Luke Ritter, who scored Logan Allen, who advanced to second base on the steal, but advanced to third base on the errant throw by catcher for the Saints, Nick Lacayo. Michael Gomez's pitch now is a fastball, almost strikes the top end of the strike zone, but doesn't get it. 1-2 now the count now here on Chase Illig.
Illig getting the night off as far as being the catcher goes, DHing for them tonight, and had a couple errors in just one inning yesterday that really resulted in part of that Saints comeback.
So the 1-2 pitch from Gomez down Illig is a ground ball over to third base, and he dives as Callie comes up with it and throws it over to first base for the final out of the inning. Makes a nice place in the hole for the third out, but not before the Foresters score another run in the top of the 5th inning on the RBI ground out by Luke Ritter. So we head to the bottom of this 5th inning here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. San Diego Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 6-1. Welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field here in Pasadena, California at beautiful Brookside Park. As the Saints will step in the bottom of the 5th inning here, down 6-1 to the Santa Barbara Foresters.
Number 6, Cameron Briggs.
We have a new pitcher on the mound for the Santa Barbara Foresters, James Notary, number 27, a right-handed pitcher for the Foresters. And we have a defensive substitution for the Foresters as Coffey's going to come ahead and come in for Utah Jones, take his spot in the 7th
We talked about a Big 12 theme on this team. James Noter out of TCU.
As a fastball is driven right up the middle right there for the first hit of the top of the fifth, bottom of the sixth inning, excuse me. That's the first hit of the season for Cameron Briggs. And it's going to go ahead and bring up the top of the order for the Saints. Number shortstop, Drew Cowley out of Cal Poly Pomona. So Cameron Briggs leads off the bottom of the fifth inning with the leadoff single up the middle. Nobody out here. And Drew Cowley steps into the plate now for the Saints. He takes a fastball up and high. 1-0 the count now here on Drew Cowley. We were talking in between innings to Tom Stafford, the GM of the Saints, as he talked about the hops here at Brookside Park. It's been notorious for bad hops this afternoon as Cowley fouls that one down the third base line and out of play. So 1-1 now the count on Drew Cowley. And Tom was talking about, they've had 7 different teams play on this field all at one time. It's been a kind of a popular field for high school Pasadena baseball and different colleges such as Pasadena City College. So it's been notorious for bad hops, and they've trying to work on the field and trying to get it back to standards as Cowley swings and misses over that curveball. 1-2 now the count on Drew Cowley. They've even coined it the Brookside hop, as he might say. So notorious for bad hops here at Brookside Park, and Saints infielders need to be wary of that going forward in the season.
And I take it from the way he described it, what we just saw a moment ago with John Thomas was nothing compared to some of the hops they've seen here in the past.
As Cowley strikes out on a curveball, looking there for the first out of the bottom of the fifth inning.
Now batting for the Saints,
So after Briggs leads off the inning with a single up the middle,
Jack.
Cowley strikes out, and that's going to bring up center fielder Jack Smith for the Saints. And as I kind of think about this now, on Saturday afternoon when John Smith was at the plate, the first run of the Saints for that game, as Jack Smith comes back to the first base and he doubles up Jack Smith for a 1-5-3 double play here to end 1-6-3 double play, to end the bottom of the fifth inning here at Jackie Robinson Field. So when I come back, I will tell you the story about the game, what happened on Saturday afternoon. But we head to the top of the sixth inning here. The Santa Barbara Foresters still lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 6-1. Welcome back to Brookside Park in beautiful Pasadena, California. My name is Stephen Baltiera. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez. And stepping up to the plate now for the Foresters in the top of the sixth inning is going to be Tyler Hardman, who flew out to center field in his last at-bat. Back on the mound for the Saints is going to be Michael Gomez, who gave up a run in the last inning for the Saints, as Hardman singles into left field to lead off the top of the sixth inning here. And the Foresters are already in business in the top of the sixth inning with the leadoff single. So once again, the Foresters get a leadoff single and are already threatening on the offensive side of the plate. It's going to go ahead and bring up third baseman and now shortstop for the Foresters, Ryan Cash.
Moving over to the middle infield here. One
So
of the
Michael
many.
Gomez. First pitch. Sorry, excuse me, didn't mean to cut you off there, but it's a ball to Ryan Cash. 1-0 the count now here on Ryan Cash. What were you saying there, Anthony?
Just going to say one of the many utility men we've seen throughout this series for both sides, really, as he moves over into short. And now Luke Coffey moving into the game defensively for the Foresters.
So the 1-0 pitch to Cash is a changeup on the outside corner. 2-0 the count now here on Ryan Cash. So as you mentioned, a little bit of defensive substitutions taking place for the Santa Barbara Foresters. But as I was talking about last inning, this Brookside Park has had some renovations done to it to try to improve the landscape of the field here for the players. As Gomez's 2-0 pitch is flied out to left field for Verdejo as he gets underneath that one for the first out of the top of the 6th inning. Ryan Cash flies out to left field for the first out, and that's going to go ahead and bring up the newly inserted into the game,
Number 3,
Luke Coffey. So Luke Coffey comes into the game for the Santa Barbara Foresters. He takes Utah Jones' spot in the lineup.
Luke Coffey started for the Foresters last night, went 1 for 4, had a couple of RBIs and a strikeout in the game.
So the first pitch to Coffey is fouled out of play. 0-1 now the count on Luke Coffey. We've been talking about the names on both of these teams so far, and you got to add Luke Coffey to that one as well. Another distinct name that stands out for this Foresters roster.
Without a doubt. And then going back to the whole utility man thing I was just talking about, Luke Coffey coming into the game at third, he played first base last night.
So 0-1 pitch now to Coffey as he grounds that one over to third base for Briggs as he throws high and off the bag is Briggs. So both runners are safe after Coffey grounds out to third base and Alex LaForestier throws it over to Briggs, unable to make an accurate throw, and Briggs comes off the bag, throws it over to first base, not in time to get Coffey at first. So runners at first and second with 1 out here in the top of the 6th, and that's going to bring up another unique name in Christian Gambali, who doubled in his first at-bat and fouled out to the first baseman in his last one.
Very unfortunate play there for the Saints. Big opportunity to get out of the inning quickly. Unfortunately, throw just a little too high there to get that first out. Unable to get the second as well.
So Gomez's first pitch to Gambali is a fastball in there for the strike. Saints kind of shooting themselves in the foot so far in this game. Had an easy double play right there, but LaForestier unable to make the accurate throw onto second base to Briggs. Gomez gets set, looks over to the runner at second as Gambali squares the bunt, misses. And that's going to go ahead and give him another strike. 0-2 the count now here on Christian Gambali. So Gomez gets ahead of Gambali with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Foresters lead the Saints 6-1. Gomez trying to limit the damage right here in the top of the 6th as Gambali calls time and steps out of the plate now here. And we talked about the pitcher so far for the Saints and falling behind hitters, but this defense hasn't helped out their pitchers as well as they've committed a lot of errors so far this season. The fastball is low and outside now. 2-2 the count now here on Christian Gambali. 1-2 the count on Christian Gambali.
Cooler temperatures here now at Jackie Robinson Field. Nice.
Definitely starting to cool down here.
Yep, nice comfortable temperature here going.
Fastball just misses from Gomez now. 2-2 the count on Christian Gambali. Like you mentioned, nothing beats a Southern California night, especially in the summer when the temperatures are like today.
And nothing beats baseball in the summer, especially when you get to enjoy it in these cooler temperatures as we have right now, closing in on 8 p.m. here in Pasadena.
Gambali swings and misses over that one for the third strike and his first strikeout of the night. So 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning for the Saints. And that's going to go ahead and bring up Gam Guangarena, who fouled out down the third base line in his last at-bat. So 2 outs here. Runners at second and first now in the top of the 6th inning for the Saints. Michael Gomez trying to escape this inning, giving up no runs, and get the Saints offense back on the field. Gomez gets set. The first pitch to Juan Garena is a fastball in the outside corner. 1-0 the count now here on Cameron Juan Garena. Gomez, the product of Upland, California. One of multiple Cal Poly Pomona Mustangs, or Broncos, excuse me, of Division II baseball. Gomez gets set. A 1-0 pitch to Juan Garena is a fastball in the inside corner. 2-0 the count now here on Juan Garena. Anthony, I know you attend Cal State Dominguez Hills, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Is Cal Poly Pomona in their division for baseball? Or do you guys play Cal Poly Pomona?
I believe they do play Cal Poly Pomona for baseball. Still getting used to some of the teams they're playing, but a couple of the local ones, like Cal State Los Angeles, is a part of their schedule. Don't believe there are any standing rivalries between them and any other school. Don't know how big rivalries are in Division II sports, but every now and then you get a solid ball player out of Cal State Dominguez Hills. Kevin Pillar for the Toronto Blue Jays right now, and a pitcher actually was just drafted by the Chicago White Sox last week.
So the 2-1 pitch to Juan Garena as he swings over that changeup. Deuce is wild now here in the top of the sixth. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 men on for the Foresters here, as Gomez tries to escape the damage here in the top of the sixth. Foresters lead the Saints 6-1. As Gomez gets set, the 2-2 pitch to Juan Garena as he drives that one into center field. Jack Smith shading over, and he's able to cover the ground and get there for the last out of the top of the sixth. So 2 men left on base for the Foresters. No one scores. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 6-1. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. We're back here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. My name is Stephen Baltier. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez, for Game 2 of the head-to-head series between the Santa Barbara Foresters and the Arroyo Seco Saints. As we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, the Foresters lead the Saints 6-1. And up at the plate for the Saints is going to be right fielder Christian Moya from USC. Moya in his last at-bat as he swings and misses over that one. 0-1 now the count on Moya. Moya singled to center field in his last at-bat for the Saints. So 0-1 now. The 0-1 pitch to Moya as he fouls that one right back to home plate. Right by us. 0-2 the count now here on Christian Moya. So the 0-2 pitch, Moya fouls back once again. 0-2 remains the count on Christian Moya. So James Notary back out for his 2nd inning of work for the Foresters. His 0-2 count now here on Moya. And the curveball is in there for a strike. Gets Moya looking for the first out of the bottom of the 6th inning here. And that's going to go ahead and bring up his USC teammate, John Thomas. Good curveball there from Notary.
James Notary out of TCU. A year ago was actually picked in the 35th round of the draft by the Colorado Rockies. Baseball America's got him ranked as the number 7 draft prospect from the state of Colorado.
As he throws a curveball in there to John Thomas. 0-1 now the count on John Thomas. So Notary from TCU, the Horned Frog. Pretty good baseball school, respected by most D1 colleges. As the 0-1 pitch to Thomas is a fastball in the dirt now. 1-1 the count on John Thomas. Thomas grounded out to shortstop in his last at-bat.
12 appearances this year for James Notary at TCU. 6.17 ERA.
The 1-1 pitch to Thomas is a curveball in there. Fouls it right back. 1-2 the pitch. 1-2 the count on John Thomas. So Notary, like you mentioned, the former freshman, one of the top prospects in Colorado. As Thomas digs in there, 1-2 pitch now to John Thomas is a fastball. He fouls that one back again. 1-2 remains the count on Thomas. So a lot of Division I respected ball clubs represented here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field tonight. You have USC at the plate, TCU on the mound. So a 1-2 pitch now to Thomas, and he grounds that one back up the middle. Makes a good play, and is safe at first base is John Thomas. So the second baseman for the Foresters, Gambali, reaches over towards the middle of the infield, throws off 1 foot, but John Thomas is able to leg out the single for his first hit of the afternoon. That's going to bring up Roy Verdejo from the Masters College, who struck out in his last at-bat.
And I mentioned James Notary, drafted by the Colorado Rockies last year. Had to be quite thrilling for him. I mean, still playing in college ball and everything, but being from Colorado, from Westminster, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver, so likely a team that he is.
Pitch to Verdejo, 2-0 the count, a little bit of trouble. So to center field, shading over to right field as Thomas scampers back to second base as he thought about going to third base, but nonetheless, runners at first and second now for the Saints, and 1 out in the top of the 6th inning.
Thomas with a big dive there to make sure he got back in time. Great hit there, though.
So Luke Ritter able to get that ball in fairly quickly and prevent Thomas from going on to third base, and that's going to bring up Mitch Kerner for the Saints, the designated hitter so far. As Kerner was able to reach base safely in his last at-bat on the air by the third baseman, Ryan Cash. Ryan Cash has since then moved over to shortstop for the Foresters. First pitch to Kerner is a fastball in there for a strike. 0-1 to count now here on Mitch Kerner. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runners on first and second. Let's see if the Saints can push across any more runs right now. As Notary gets set, looks over to the runner at second. As a curveball is high and outside. 2-1, 1-1, the count on Mitch Kerner. So the Saints have been able to get runners on base so far this game, but haven't been able to cash them in so far on the night. Been the story of the season so far for the Saints, leaving runners on base throughout the first 6 games of the season. The 1-1 pitch from Notary is a curveball up, and that's going to drop the count to 2-1 now the count on Mitch Kerner. So Kerner singled in his first at-bat to center field. Reached on the air by third baseman Ryan Cash in his last at-bat, so has reached base safely in his first 2 at-bats, starting for the Saints. The fastball outside, low. So the count now is 3-1 on Mitch Kerner with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Foresters lead the Saints 6-1 at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, right behind the beautiful Rose Bowl on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Pasadena, California. Notary gets set, looks over at Thomas at second. The 3-1 pitch, and Kerner fouls that one right behind us here. Full count now here on Mitch Kerner. So a full count now here on Kerner. Big opportunity for the Saints in this ball game. As Notary in a little bit of trouble so far in this game. And Kerner calls time, steps out, takes a dry hack right now, and digs back into the plate now for the Saints. Big at bat for the Saints in the bottom of the sixth. They want to get back in this ball game. As Thomas leads from second base in scoring position. Notary gets set, the full count pitch to Kerner. He drives that one down the left field line. That one's going to roll all the way to the wall. Thomas is going to score on the play. Verdeo is going to be safe at third, and Kerner's going to be standing up with a stand-up double and an RBI for Mitch Kerner. So he is 2 for 2 on the afternoon and has reached base safely in all 3 at-bats, and more importantly, drives in the second run of the ball game for the Arroyo Seco Saints.
Absolutely big hit there down the left field line, and you talked about runners being left on base. It happened last game, and it's been happening all this game. Big moment for them to be able to get a run across and get runners now into scoring position here for Nick Lacayo.
So Nick Lacayo now steps up for the Saints after Mitch Kerner with a huge one-out double down the left field line is able to score John Thomas. Runners up for second and third now for the Saints. Only one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And that's going to draw a meeting from pitching coach for the Foresters, Tim Haberson, excuse me. Going to talk to his pitcher, try to calm him down, as Notary has now given up 3 hits in the inning so far. Only one out so far in the bottom of the 6th inning. So Lacayo's in the plate, struck out in his last at-bat for the Saints. Another big opportunity for Lacayo. Runners at second and third, only one out. Base hit, likely drives in 2 and cuts the deficit to 6-4 for the Saints.
Lacayo, one of 4 Saints players from the state of Colorado. He is from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and plays at Michigan State, so he's a little bit all over the map as he plays baseball here in California.
As he drives that one to center field, but right at the center fielder. And Verdeo is going to go ahead and tag from third base and get in there safely, as now stuck in the middle is Kerner from second base, and he's able to drive in safely to second base. So an RBI fly out to center field for Lacayo as Verdeo scores from third, tagging up. Kerner gets caught in the middle a little bit there as he tries to advance to third, but scampers back to second base in time. So the lead now for the Foresters is only 3, as the score is the Foresters 6 and the Saints 3.
And Kerner very fortunate that throw was just a little bit high, because when he froze, he was caught right in the middle of those 2 bases.
So an RBI for Lacayo as he flies out to center is going to bring up Alec LaForestier, who grounded out to second base in his last at-bat. As Notary's first pitch to LaForestier is a fastball in there for a strike, 0-1 the count. So the Saints have been able to push across 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cut the Foresters' lead to 3. Notary's curveball is in there for a strike, 0-2 now the count on Alec LaForestier.
Alex LaForestier from Sacramento, California, goes to school at University of the Pacific, Pacific Tiger. Not too far, one of the closer colleges to Sacramento, California, in Stockton.
The 0-2 pitch now to LaForestier is a curveball down and in, 1-2 the count now here on Alex LaForestier, one of the notable former coaches from the University of Pacific, not in baseball but football, is Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
the legendary USC coach and Seattle Seahawks head coach currently. 1-2 pitch from Notary is a fastball low and just misses. 2-2 now the count on Alec LaForestier. So the deuce is wild here at Jackie Robinson Field. Bottom of the 6th inning. The Saints have pushed across 2 runs so far in this inning. As Mitch Kerner leads from second base, James Notary gets set, looks over to Kerner. The 2-2 pitch now to LaForestier is a curveball as he flies that one out to center field. And camped underneath that one is going to be center fielder Logan Allen for the final out of the bottom of the sixth. So the Saints push across 2 more runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning as the Foresters lead 6-3 over the Saints. We're going to head to the top of the 7th inning here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. My name is Stephen Baltiera. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez, as a new pitcher for the Saints comes in on the top of the 7th inning. And we've talked about this theme about names being brought up, and one of my favorite pitchers for the Saints, Blake Beers, comes in for the Arroyo Seco Saints, and stepping up to the plate is going to be Logan Allen, the center fielder, as he fouls that one back. So Blake Beers out of Manhattan Beach, California, the product of the University of Michigan. So we finally see our first Big Ten representative.
And we're to the beverage theme point of the game. We had Luke Coffey come in a moment ago, and now Blake Beers.
So 2 different beverages, but both, I guess you could say, are a social lubricant for some people. As the curveball's up there, 1-1 now the count now here on Logan Allen. So a fastball from Beers is outside, 2-1 the count. So the Foresters lead 6-3 over the Saints as Allen drives that one down the left right field line out of play. 2-2 the count on Logan Allen. So Blake Beers appeared in Saturday's game versus the San Diego Force as the Force rolled past the Saints 14-7, excuse me. The fastball way up there. Full count now here on Logan Allen. As head coach for the Saints, Sean Bueller, gets into our broadcast there, trying to get the foul balls, or the pass ball, excuse me, by Beers. So the full count pitch out here to Logan Allen is a fastball up, and Allen walks once again for the 2nd time this afternoon for the Foresters. We have a leadoff man on base once again. It sounds like a broken record by this point for the Santa Barbara Foresters lineup. Let's go ahead and bring up Luke Ritter for the Foresters.
Coming off his freshman year with the University of Michigan. Starter for the most part, but also had some relief appearances for the Wolverines.
As Beers gets set, the first pitch now here to Luke Ritter's a fastball in there for a strike 0-1 to count on Luke Ritter. As you mentioned, Beers was a Rawlings perfect game, 3rd-team All-American in 2017 at a high school. Was first-team All-State in his senior season of high school. Beers gets set. The 0-1 pitch now to Ritter is a fastball in, then he flies it out of play here behind the stands. 0-2 the count on Luke Ritter. So we've seen players all the way from the University of Michigan to the University of Southern California, all the way to the Masters College. So we have players from all over the country for this Arroyo Seco Saints team.
Real showcase of talent all over the place in the CCL.
As the curveball is in there for a strike three, looking as he strikes out Luke Ritter for the first out here in the top of the 7th inning. And that's going to bring up the player of the game so far for the Foresters, John Jensen.
Thank you.
So Jansen steps in now, doubled in his last at-bat, hit a grand slam in his second at-bat of the afternoon as Beers gets set, and Allen takes off there as that was a pass ball, and Allen's going to go ahead and take third on that. Lacayo thought that was a foul ball off Jansen's bat, but the umpire signals that that ball was a pass ball, and Lacayo thought that was a foul ball, so a little bit of confusion at home plate right now as Allen steals second and advances to third base on the pass ball by Lacayo. So Nick Lacayo kind of arguing with the home plate umpire, saying, "Hey, that ball is fouled off Jansen's bat." As the home plate umpire says, "No, that was a pass ball," and just like that, and Logan Allen's at third base now in scoring position, 90 feet away from scoring the Foresters' 7th run of the game. Only one out in the inning. Beers gets set. The 0-1 pitch down to Jansen. The fastball low. Just misses. 1-1 the count now here on John Jensen. So a little bit of a weird play there, if you might ask.
Yeah, you can tell there couldn't have been a doubt in Lacayo's mind that that was a foul tip because he made no effort to go after the ball until that call was made. And by then, damage already done, runner on third. But you can tell both Blake Beers and Lacayo thought that was.
As Jansen lines that one off the second baseman glove, Cameron Briggs is unable to come up with it, and that's going to roll into center field for an RBI for Jansen. So Jansen, the ball is just rolling his way this afternoon as the Foresters scored their 7th run of the ball game and extend their lead 7-3 over the Arroyo Seco Saints. So Briggs unable to come up with that blind drive right at him. And that's going to score Logan Allen and go ahead and bring up Chase Illig, who grounded out in his last at-bat. Illig fouls in foul territory. Lacayo runs over and unable to get it here in the foul territory here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. So Illig fouls that one right behind home plate. Lacayo unable to get there in time. Nonetheless, an 0-1 count now here on Chase Illig.
Lacayo running for his life over here, trying to get that one, very close to being able to make that play.
So one out here in the top of the 7th inning. 1 run in for the Santa Barbara Foresters. And an 0-1 count now here on Chase Illig, the designated hitter for the Foresters. As you mentioned, Illig had a pretty rough night for the Foresters last night on the defensive side of things, not so much on the offense. Might be part of the reason why he's a DH tonight. As a fastball's blown right by Illig for 0-2 the count now here on the designated hitter.
Yep, he was a big part of the reason both teams scored a lot of runs last night. A lot of hits for the Foresters and a lot of errors that resulted in the Saints getting back in the ball game.
So the 0-2 pitch from Beers now to Illig as he fouls that one down the left field line and off the pole and back into play here. 0-2 remains the count on Chase Illig. So if you've missed it so far, Logan Allen walked in this inning, stole second, and the pass ball by Jansen, when Jansen's at the plate by Lacayo, thought it was a foul ball, advanced to third base, and Jansen drives him in with the line drive as he tries to steal second. He does steal second, and the throw once again goes into center field by Lacayo. So Jansen's in there to second base with a stolen base. And as I mentioned, he had a line drive to the second baseman, Cameron Briggs, as Chase Illig strikes out for the second out of the inning. But he drove in Logan Allen on that line drive that Briggs was unable to come up with at second base.
A lot of stolen bases last night early in the game, and tonight we didn't really see it as much early on as we were expecting, but now it's becoming a common theme of this game here in the late innings for the Foresters.
So now for the Foresters, Tyler Hardman, their first baseman, who singled to the first baseman in his last at-bat. John Thomas had a pretty good play on it, but was able to lay out the infield single as he takes ball 1-1 the count now here on Tyler Hardman. Beers gets set. The fastball is up again. 2-0 the count now here on Hardman. So a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of self-sabotaging by the Saints on the defensive side of things has led to 7 runs so far for the Foresters. As he fouls that one back. 2-1 the count now here on Tyler Hardman.
And unfortunately for them, all started with the confusion on that pass ball that led to this first run of the inning that's made this kind of a long inning here, despite only giving up the 1 run so far.
So 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning for the Saints. As Beers has a 2-1 count now here on Tyler Hardman. He gets set. Look over at Jansen at second base. The 2-1 pitch now to Hardman's a curveball in there for a strike. 2-2 the count on Hardman. Hardman singled in his last at-bat, flew out to center field in his second at-bat of the night. So Beers gets set, looks over to Jansen. Hardman fouls that one back now. 2-2 remains the count on Tyler Hardman. So the sun almost non-existent here now at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. It's officially nighttime. As Beers looks over, the 2-2 pitch is a curveball, and Hardman fouls that one, dribbles it down the third base line.
That one not ruled a pass ball.
Head coach for the Saints, Sean Bueller, getting some nice little cardio exercise, chasing all these foul balls behind the home plate. Beers gets at the 2-2 pitch now here to Tyler Hardman as he looks over to Jansen at second base as he fakes the pick. Deuces remain wild here on the top of the 7th inning as the Foresters lead the Saints 7-3. Beers gets set. That's a curveball outside now. Full count on Tyler Hardman. So Forester hitters working the counts, being aggressive on the base path, hitting home runs, just about doing everything right and everything you expect out of an offensive team. So full count. Beers gets set, looks over to second base, the full count pitch, and Hardman swings and misses over that for the final out of the inning. But not before the Foresters push across another run here in the top of the 7th inning. The Foresters lead 7-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. We're back here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field for the bottom of the 7th inning as the Foresters lead the Saints 7-3. Stepping up to the plate now for the Saints is going to be second baseman Cameron Briggs. As the first pitch is a fastball inside. 1-0 the count now here on Cameron Briggs. As Briggs grounds that one down the third base line. Throwing over to first base is Coffey for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning now. And that's going to bring up the top of the lineup for the Saints, Drew Cowley from Cal Poly Pomona. Drew Cowley in his last at-bat struck out.
And a defensive change for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Andrew Wiss coming into play center field now, and we saw him last night for the Foresters. He was at the bottom of the batting order for them, and he went 0 for 4 in the game, got a walk, but 2 strikeouts.
So Notary's first pitch now to Drew Cowley is a fastball high and outside, 1-0 the count on Cowley. So another sluggish game so far for the Saints as they're down 7-3 in the bottom of the 7th as Cowley fouls that one down the left field line and out of play. 1-1 now the count on Drew Cowley. A little bit of a humid night so far here in Pasadena. Kind of a little bit dry, a little bit of moist heat.
Definitely take this temperature we're at now over what we had right at the game time at first pitch, 6:05.
As James Notary's curveball is high and outside, 2-1 the count now here on Cali. Most definitely, that sun was beating down on our backs, and my back was frying earlier, I'm not going to lie. As Cali fouls this one back, 2-2 the count now here on Drew Cowley. Nonetheless, though, sun is now a non-existent factor in this ball game.
And very fortunate are we that most of our games are 6:05 here. We have the occasional 1:05 start times, and we know how tough it is to endure the heat on those days.
The heat is right above you at that point. This past Saturday, the Saints outfielders had a tough time trying to pick up the ball with the sun right in their face. Was talking to our GM, Tom Stafford, and Nick Gorman. He was saying that they have cut back on the amount of day games this year because of the players and coaches complaining about the heat and just overall well-being of the game. So more night games, more times to come out to Jackie Robinson Field here to support the Saints. As Cali grounds this one to second base now. Pretty routine play. Throws it over to first for the second out of the top of the 7th. And that's going to bring up Jack Smith, who grounded into a double play in his last at-bat.
Jack Smith.
So Smith grounded in a double play in his last at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat. Had a big game on Saturday afternoon against the San Diego Force. Was a home run shy of the cycle. As he takes a fastball from Notary in there for a strike. 0-1 the count now here on Jack Smith. So Smith 0 for 3 on the afternoon so far as the fastball is low and in the dirt. 1-1 now the count on Smith. Jack Smith going to play baseball in this upcoming season for the Arizona State Sun Devils. As he digs into the plate now for the Saints. The 1-1 pitch to Smith is a curveball in there for a strike. And 1-2 now the count on Jack Smith.
Yeah, Jack Smith, an all-around athlete, playing baseball here. Football for Arizona State, where he's a receiver, but in high school was a quarterback.
As a fastball is in there for a strike. Notary thought he had the strike 3 called, but has to walk back onto the mound. 2-2 the count now here on Jack Smith. So count been a little bit tight. The strike zone's been a little bit tight so far this afternoon as Jack Smith grounds out one back up the middle. Cash throws it over, but not in time as the speedy Jack Smith is going to be on with an infield single and one of many infield singles so far this afternoon.
Yeah, Jack Smith really ran that one out, and additionally, that ball slowly made its way in towards second base, long enough for him to get there.
So Smith has kind of shown his will so far and his athletic ability so far this season for the Saints as he tracked down that ball in center field in the top of the 5th inning for the 3rd out. But it's going to bring up Christian Moyer from USC now for the Saints. As a fastball is in there for a strike. 0-1 to count now here on Christian Moyer. Moya in his last at-bat struck out. Singled in his second at-bat to center field, so 1 for 2 on the afternoon as he takes a strike there. 0-2 the count on Christian Moya. So Moya behind early in the account with 2 outs. Now here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Game moving along pretty fast so far compared to last night's game. As Notary's fastball is in the dirt and gets past the catcher, and Smith's going to be able to move on to second base and take a big lead around second, but not going to advance to third. And the account now here is 1-2 on Moya. So Notary once again pitching from the stretch here in this bottom of the 7th inning. Runner in scoring position. Saints trying to chip away once again at this lead.
You can tell Smith knows how much speed he's working with there. He took a huge turn there, really thought about going to third, thought better of it.
A very confident man on the base path is Smith. As Moya swings over that one for a second strikeout of the game, and he goes to 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Saints scoring no runs, but leave a runner on second base here in the bottom of the 7th inning. We head to the top of the 8th. The Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 7-3. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. We're back here at the Arroyo Seco Saints home field, the Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, as we have a new pitcher for the Saints. It's going to be Bobby Fulkerson, who's from Phoenix, Arizona. Anaheim, California. Came from Southern New Hampshire. He's going to transfer this next year, as his first pitch is a fastball up. Ball 1 now, 1-0 the count. So 1-0 count. Fulkerson's first pitch is a fastball up. Another fastball up. 2-0 the count now here on Ryan Cash. So Fulkerson already behind the count to Cash. Fulkerson gets set. 2-0 pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. 2-1 the count now here on Bobby Fulkerson.
Cash batting .400 here coming into this game tonight, off to a great start here this season.
So Fulkerson's third appearance of the season for the Saints. As Lacayo calls time and goes out to visit his pitcher. 2-1 the count now here on Cash. In the top of the 8th inning, so the Saints are running out of opportunities to come back in the game and are in danger of dropping their second straight game of the season. For the Foresters, everything going right so far this season. 4-0 in the season. On the verge of going 5-0 and 3-0 in CCL play. Fulkerson gets set now here as Cash fouls that one down the left field line now. Out of play. So 2-2 now the count now here on Ryan Cash, the third baseman. Excuse me, the shortstop now for the Foresters. So the 15th season so far for the Arroyo Seco Saints in program history, as you see our icon in the top left corner of the screen. As Fulkerson gets set. Fastball up. 3-2 now the count now here on Ryan Cash. The Arroyo Seco Saints last year did not make the playoffs in the CCL. The OC Riptide were the champions of the CCL last year. As Fulkerson gets set, the full count pitch to Cash as he flies that one out to shallow left field. Verdejo comes over, not able to get it. Cash is going to have an infield single as he bloops that one in to left field. He throws it over the second baseman. John Thomas dives and stops the ball from going into the right field corner, but not before Cash gets onto second base after singling down the left field line, advances to second base on the throwing error by Verdejo. And that's kind of been the story of the night so far for the Saints. Throwing errors and errors in general have kind of shot them in the foot so far this afternoon.
Yeah, you got that right. Last night it was stolen bases. Tonight it's errors for the Saints that are really the undoing for them in this game. And really, I mean, when you look at the score, one big hit also that resulted for most of the offense tonight here for the Foresters.
You mentioned the one big hit by John Jensen, the grand slam in the top of the third inning. As Luke Coffey steps in now for the Foresters. With the runner at second base and nobody out, he squares the rated bunt. Pulls it back, 1-0 the count now here on Luke Coffey. Luke Coffey came into this game, replaced Utah Jones in the lineup. Moved to third base. As Ryan Cash moved to shortstop for the Foresters.
Only disappointing thing about Fulkerson coming into the game is we did not get to see the epic battle between beers and coffee.
That would have been a great name. You have been fascinated with the names on both teams so far. What's going through your mind? You're waiting for these things to happen so far?
I really am. You know, there's just so many unique names in baseball. I don't know. I'm just so curious.
So 1-1 count now here on Coffey. Fulkerson gets set. Curveball in the dirt now. 2-1 the count on Luke Coffey. So Fulkerson, a little bit of a jam here. Nobody out. Runner at second base. Coffey at the plate. 2-1 the count as Fulkerson gets set. The 2-1 pitches a curveball outside. Now 3-1 the count on Luke Coffey. So Fulkerson on the verge of giving up a single. Runner advancing on a throwing error by Verdejo. And giving up a walk to Coffey to start this inning.
You talked about the Saints and how they did last season. Well, the Santa Barbara Foresters had quite a good season. They went 25-11 last year in CCL play. Made the playoffs.
As Coffey fouls that one back now. 3-2 the count on Luke Coffey. As you mentioned, the Santa Barbara Foresters had a great season last year, made the playoffs. One of two teams that made the playoffs last year. They're moving now to 4-team playoff this year in the 8-team league. After only two teams making the playoffs last year. As Fulkerson gets set, a full count, looks over to Cash at second base, scampers back, and steps back on the mound, but Coffey calls time. So the pace of play kind of slowing down here in the top of the 8th inning. Not trending with the rest of this game as a full count pitch is a fastball fouled and out of play now. Full count remains the count. Head coach Sean Bueller working hard once again, getting his cardio in. Game moving pretty fast so far, as we're just about 2.5 hours into it and already in the top of the 8th. So Fulkerson's full count pitch is a fastball just outside and misses, so he walks Luke Coffey. And now we have runners at first and second to lead off the top of the 8th. And that's going to go ahead and bring up second baseman Christian Gambale, who doubled, fouled out to first base in this game. So Fulkerson and jam already. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. Gambale up. We'll see if he squares away to bunt now to try to move runners into scoring position here in the top of the 8th. He skies that one to shallow right field, right to second base. Cameron Briggs right under it for the first out of the top of the 8th inning. That's going to go ahead and bring up Cameron Guangarena for the Foresters.
Saints really needed an out like that there with 2 runners on here to start this inning. Something quick that didn't allow these runners to move up here following 2 walks to open the inning.
So Fulkerson gets a much-needed out right there from Gambale, an infield fly out. And Guangarena now up to the plate for the Foresters. He flew out to center field in his last in the Super Regionals to the University of Washington. Anthony, I don't know if you watched Game 3 of that series, but a pretty intense series at the end. Fullerton took the lead in the bottom of the 9th inning. Washington were able to tie it up as both runners are taken off. And the Coyote has him dead out and right to dry is Ryan Cash for the second out of the top of the 8th inning. A big out for the Saints now in the top of the 8th as Ryan Cash is caught stealing third base for the second out.
Yeah, right you are. A very exciting set of games there between Cal State Fullerton and the Washington Huskies. And always like to see these California teams do well in the College World Series, but really cool for Washington to get their first opportunity at Omaha.
So Luke Coffey now at second base for the Foresters. Fulkerson gets set. 1-1 pitch now here to Guangarena as a fastball up. 2-1 the count now here on Guangarena. Yeah, and as you mentioned, that game was, one of those back and forth games. Fullerton, you thought for a second had it. One of their star players in Hank Lafort hit a ball over the right field fence in the top of the 10th. But the University of Washington were able to capitalize and win that Super Regional and advance to the College World Series. Ball inside from Fulkerson now. 3-1 the count on Guangarena. So top of the 8th inning here, Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, 7-3 lead for the Santa Barbara Foresters, on the verge of sweeping the 2-game series with the Saints as Fulkerson walks Guangarena on 5 pitches, and that's going to bring up the top of the lineup for the Foresters and Logan Allen.
From Arkansas, Fort Smith, number 17, Logan Allen.
So Logan Allen comes up in a big spot for the Foresters with a chance to build their lead heading into the final 2 at-bats for the Saints in this game. Fulkerson gets set. Curveball just misses. 1-0 count now here on Allen. So 1-0 pitch now here as Allen drives that one into deep left field. That one might get out of here off the base of the wall. Going to score 2 runs for the Foresters as Guangarena comes around to score, and Logan Allen's 2-out double scores 2 runs and gives the Foresters a much-needed 9-3 lead here in the top of the 8th inning.
3rd extra base hit of the season there for Logan Allen. That's what this team does. Lots of extra base hits here in this 2-gamer we've seen so far.
For a second, that ball looked like it was about to get out of here. Bounced off the base of the wall, but nonetheless still pushed across 2 runs for the Foresters. That's going to bring up right fielder now, Luke Ritter. So Fulkerson surrenders the 2-out, 2 RBI double to Logan Allen. And his first pitch now to Ritter is a curveball in the dirt now. So 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. The 1-0 pitch now to Ritter as Fulkerson gets set. Fastball just outside, 1-1, 2-0 the count, on Ritter. So clutch at bat for Allen right there with 2 outs. 2-out RBIs will always get the job done in baseball. The 2-0 pitch now is a fastball up once again. 3-0 the count now here on Luke Ritter. So the Foresters on their way to almost a 5-0 start on the season. So 3-0 pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. 3-1 the count on Ritter. The Saints trying to find their footing so far this season. On the verge of falling to 2-4 on the season in their second season in the CCL. The 3-1 pitch is fouled back now by Ritter. Is 3-2 the count on Ritter. So full count, 2 outs here, top of the 8th inning. Foresters push across 2 runs here to extend their lead to 9-3. Bobby Fulkerson on the mound for the Saints. Luke Ritter at the plate for the Foresters. The full count pitch is a fastball in there, and he drives that one into right field. Moya is camped right underneath it, but hit hardly. Nonetheless, 3 outs here in the top of the 8th. We're going to head to the bottom of the 8th, but not before the Foresters tack on 2 more runs in the top of the 8th inning and extend their lead to 9-3. You're listening to your Arroyo Seco Saints baseball on the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network.
Thomas.
Welcome back to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. My name is Stephen Baltiera. Alongside me is my partner, Anthony Alejandrez. But right now I'm going to be joined by one of the Arroyo Seco Saints players.
Cam Brown.
Cam Brown's on the mic right now for the broadcast as the Foresters lead the Saints 9-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And stepping up to the plate is John Thomas as he takes the ball inside. 1-0 the count on John Thomas. So, Cam Brown, you're a pitcher for this Arroyo Seco Saints team so far. I mean, you're 2-3 so far in the season and about to go to 2-4 if we can't come back in this game. What have you seen from the Saints so far this season? It kind of gives you hopes or a chance to bounce back.
I think our offense has been swinging it well, getting on base. I mean, we're scoring a decent amount of runs every game. Our pitchers just, we're walking a little bit too many guys and then falling behind guys. So once we kind of settle in and start getting ahead of guys and pounding the zone a little bit more, I think we'll see some more success.
As the count moves to 3-0 now here on John Thomas to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. So I mean, one thing you've mentioned that you're falling behind in counts. It's kind of a pitcher's recipe for disaster so far. What are some things that the pitching coach is telling you to kind of improve that going forward?
Well, he was talking today about it actually, and our bullpen coach, Coach Andrews, was talking about how all our bullpens look really good, and so we're just trying to have that same mindset that we have in bullpens, and not like think about the situations or outcomes. Just try to make good pitches.
As Thomas walks on 4 pitches, going to bring up Roy Verdejo, the left fielder for the Saints. I mean, you looked at, obviously from the pitching aspect now, but looking at the offense, only 3 runs today, but so far, like you've mentioned, your guys' offense has been able to put up some pretty big, numbers so far through this season. As a fastball is in there for a strike, 0-1 the count now here on Verdejo. How has it been so far this summer? I know it's only 5 games, but how has the experience been with all the guys so far, and have getting to know them and all that different experience, and goes into summer league college baseball?
Yeah, I mean, it's been cool. I mean, I only knew Bryce from school, and he was the only one I knew coming in. So just talking with some of the guys, they're all good guys, just normal college dudes, I guess,
As Verdejo slaps that one down the first base line now, 0-2 the count on Roy Verdejo. So you're from the University of Notre Dame, pretty big college as far as sports go. Not so much known for their baseball, more of a football school, but baseball nonetheless, a pretty big thing there at Notre Dame. So how has that been playing at Notre Dame this past season?
It was awesome. So, we didn't finish where we would obviously have liked to, but it was cool. We were a pretty young team, so looking good for next year, and kind of just taking it one step at a time.
Taking it one step at a time. So you're originally from Denver, Colorado. You played baseball. Where did you go to high school out there?
D'Evelyn High School. It's a small school in West Denver, kind of.
And how did you get recruited by Notre Dame coming out of that high school?
My club coach actually knows our head coach at Notre Dame, and so he just flew me out for a visit and kind of went on from there. So.
As Verdejo slaps that one down the right field line now, 1-2 remains the count on Roy Verdejo. So, guys from all over the country on the Saints roster so far this season. Has there been different, cultures, different things? What's been kind of unique about this season, this college baseball summer league so far?
Yeah, it's a little different, especially coming from the Midwest, I deal with a bunch of people from Chicago because obviously Notre Dame's an hour and a half from Chicago, so people from Texas and Cali, they're just I feel like they're a little bit more relaxed, and actually some of them, the Texas kids are more relaxed, but the Cali kids seem a little bit more high-strung, some of them, because...
As Verdejo grounded into the ground, the 6-4-3 double play right there, 2 outs now here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Going to go ahead and bring up Mitch Kerner. Obviously 2-4. You're looking at 2-4 so far this season. What has Sean Bueller kind of told you guys, the head coach of the roster? I know you don't deal with him kind of specifically, you have a pitching coach that you go to, Matthew Trope, but what has Sean Bueller kind of told you guys going forward? Is it more of a serious attitude, or is it kind of like the laid-back summer baseball attitude, just kind of get your work in kind of thing?
It's kind of a mixture of both, I would say. In terms of gameplay, it's pretty serious, but when we're not playing games, he's just kind of laid back, but he just keeps saying sticking to the process, and it will start winning here soon, he says. So.
As Kerner takes a big swing on that one now, 1-1 the count now here on Mitch Kerner. So obviously you're not from around here. It's 1-2 count now here as he fouls that one back. You're not from around here. Where are you staying out here, man? Where you?
So our GM Aaron has an apartment over off Avenue 60. Okay. So that's kind of where we're hanging out.
How do you like your time in California? Have you ever been to California since before this, or is it your first time staying in Southern California?
My family and I always vacationed out here in Encinitas, California, so a little bit south, but
out there in San Diego.
Yep.
Right on. As Kerner slaps on one to the left field for a single now, with the 2-out single, going to go ahead and bring up Nick Lacayo, the catcher from Michigan State. I know you really don't like doing this much. I know you're kind of you want to probably get out of here, but I guess one more question. What are you looking forward to get out of this season for this? Obviously, it's the team, but for you personally.
For me personally, I guess I'm just trying to get more comfortable feel for all my pitches and try to work on some stuff that I was unable to obviously work in the spring as I'm trying to compete. So I'm trying to work on a slider and just kind of a change up to righties and stuff like that. So just trying to manage the game a little bit better.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. As Nick Lacayo takes a ball one there, 1-0 the count now here on Lacayo in the bottom of the 8th inning. So Roy Verdejo hit into a ground ball double play here in the bottom of the 8th. Lacayo, fastball on the outside corner now. 2-0 the count on Lacayo. So Lacayo Flew out to center field, had an RBI in this game so far. Still not enough for the Saints as they are trailing 9-3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Mitch Kerner had a big day for the Saints so far as he singled in the left field right here. As Lacayo fouls that one out of play. Now 2-1 the count on Nick Lacayo. So Kerner has 3 hits on the afternoon for the Saints. If that's any consolation for the Saints so far, that might be the player of the game for them.
Just had a hard time getting things going here today. Just one of those days.
And Lacayo fouls that one back once again. 2-2 the count on Nick Lacayo. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Saints running out of chances to get back into this game as they trail 9-3. And on the verge of dropping both games to the Santa Barbara Foresters.
And the trend continues for the Foresters, scoring a lot of runs in this game. 9 runs today.
The curveball's in there. Swing and miss for Lacayo, and he goes down swinging for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 8th inning. We head to the top of the 9th inning here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. The Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 9-3. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network.
Now batting.
Welcome back to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network as Jackson Bond is the new pitcher for the Saints. The knuckleball left-hander as he throws a knuckleball in the dirt. Ball 1 now here to the center field. The new center fielder for the Foresters, Andrew Weiss. It's ball up there. 2-0 the count now here. So Jackson Bond, the product of Cal State LA. As Weiss flies that one into center field. Smith shades over. Camped underneath it for the 1st out of the top of the 9th inning for the Saints.
A little bit of ground there for him to cover, but nonetheless there and plenty of time. Jackson Bond pitched a couple days ago against the San Diego Force. Went 2 2/3 innings.
So Bond, like I mentioned, the knuckleballer, probably the only knuckleballer on this Saints pitching staff.
For the Foresters, number 20.
Was at the University of Oklahoma this past year. Did not play baseball there. Just attended school. Is probably going to transfer out to Cal State LA in this upcoming season. So the first pitch now is a ball outside from Bond. 1-0 the count. Swing and miss right there. 1-1 now the count. So 1-1 now the count here. It's a knuckleball in the dirt. 2-1 now the count. So the knuckleball is outside. 3-1 the count now here to Isaac Coffey. Isaac Coffey, we're not sure if he's related to the Luke Coffey on this team as he drives that one into left field deep. Verdejo camped underneath it for the 2nd out here in the top of the 9th inning. So Jackson Bond working rather quickly so far for the Saints pitching staff tonight. as Isaac Coffey flies out to deep left field. Stepping up to the plate now for the Forester is going to be Tyler Hardman. Singled to first base in his last at-bat. So 2 outs here in the top of the ninth as Bond's first pitch to Hardman as he squibs that one down the right field line. Thomas lays out, almost able to come up with it down the first base line, but no cigar as he comes up with a jersey full of dirt, getting that jersey dirty on the afternoon.
Just about caught the fence there, too, on that slide. Very lucky John Thomas didn't end up sliding right into that.
As he comes up pretty slow there. Might have scraped his arm a little bit on that dive. Maybe a little upset he did not come up with that ball there, but great effort nonetheless by Thomas. So 0-1 the count now here on Hardman as he fouls that one down the right field line once again. 0-2 the count.
Definitely want to give John Thomas a lot of credit defensively today. He's been working really hard over there in his corner, trying to make a lot of plays defensively for the Saints team.
Been all over the field for the Saints down that right field line, making great plays as Bonds 0-2 pitches a fastball up, 1-2 the count now here on Hardman. Like you mentioned, John Thomas always kind of been a stable force for the Saints team on the offensive and defensive side of things for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Had a great play earlier, was unable to get Hardman actually, as Hardman squibs that one into right field. Moya unable to come up with it in right field as it drops in there for probably an error on Moya and the first base runner of the inning for the Foresters.
Yeah, Moya had to try to run that one down. Got his glove a little low there to try and get it, but not able to make the play. Most likely an error there.
So most likely an error on Moya. It's going to go ahead and bring up third baseman for the Foresters, Ryan Cash. As he steps up to the plate with runner on at first base as Hardman. 2 outs in the top of the ninth inning for the Foresters. As Bond's first pitch is a knuckleball up and out. 1-0 the count now here on Ryan Cash.
And to further the point about John Thomas, really working hard defensively, I mean, you just got to take a look at his uniform, and that really tells the story. Nobody's got more dirt on their uniform tonight than John Thomas.
Jackson Bond's fastball's in there for a strike 1-1. And like the old adage goes, if you're not dirty, you're not trying.
Yep.
So Jackson Bond gets set. Looks over to the runner at first. The knuckleball in the dirt. 2-1 now the count here on Ryan Cash. Like we mentioned earlier, Ryan Cash, the product of Oklahoma State University. A Cowboy for them. As Jackson Bond did not play baseball, but attended the University of Oklahoma. As his knuckleball is outside now. 3-1 the count now here on Ryan Cash. So a lot of Midwest guys on this team. We just talked to Cam Brown in between innings, or last inning, excuse me. As the knuckleball is outside and he walks Cash on 5 pitches. So runners at first and second now for the Foresters in the top of the ninth. But like I mentioned, Cam Brown, University of Notre Dame out of Denver, Colorado. Oklahoma State for Ryan Cash. A lot of Midwest guys playing out here in the California Collegiate League. Now up to the plate now for the Foresters is going to be Luke Coffey, the brother of Isaac Coffey, who flied out earlier in this game. Takes a fastball outside, 1-0 the count now here on Coffey.
And Isaac Coffey, this is only the second game he's appeared in so far for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
He skies that one high right at the pitcher as the shortstop, Cowley, comes over and caroms it for the final out of the top of the ninth. So the Saints don't give up any runs in the top of the ninth, but we head to the bottom of the ninth. Their last chance at coming back in this game, down 9-3 to the Santa Barbara Foresters. You're listening to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network. Welcome back here to the Arroyo Seco Saints Broadcast Network and Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Saints have their last up in this game. New pitcher for the Foresters is going to be Bailey Reed from Westmont College, as he's going to try to close this one out for the Santa Barbara Foresters and sweep the two-game series with the Arroyo Seco Saints. Up to the plate now is going to be the third baseman for the Saints, Alex LaForestier, as he digs in now, down by 6 runs. The first pitch from Reed is a fastball in there for a strike. 0-1 the count now here on LaForestier. So Santa Barbara has been able to suppress this Saints lineup so far tonight. As the second pitch from Reed is a fastball up and out. 1-1 now the count on LaForestier. So the Arroyo Seco Saints trying to get any runners they can on base any way they can get them. The 1-1 pitch from Reed now is a curveball, and it's grounded right back to him, bobbled, but able to stay with it for the first out here in the bottom of the ninth inning. 1 out away, and that's going to bring up for the Saints second baseman Cameron Briggs.
Number 6, Cameron Briggs.
So Cameron Briggs going to step in for the Saints with 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth inning. The product of UC Davis.
For the Arroyo Seco Saints, they go on the road tomorrow, take on the Ventura County Pirates. That game coming up at 4:30 p.m.
As Reed's first pitched to Briggs is a fastball in the dirt. 1-0 the count now here on Briggs.
And for the Santa Barbara Foresters, following this 2-game set here in Pasadena, they will take on the Orange County Riptide on the road, a place that the Saints will be visiting later on this week.
So the 1-0 pitch now to Briggs is up, and 2-0 the count now here on Cameron Briggs. Like I mentioned, Briggs from UC Davis. So Reed gets set. The 2-0 pitch now to Briggs. He drives that one into the right center field gap, but the right field's going to go ahead and shade over and make the catch on that one for the second out here in the bottom of the ninth inning. So the Saints now down to their last out here, on the verge of going 2-4 overall in the season.
Now batting for the Saints, shortstop, number 21 from Cal Poly Pomona, Drew Cowley.
The Santa Barbara Foresters on the verge of going 5-0 on the season and 3-0 in CCL play. Saints on the verge of going 2-3 in CCL play. So stepping up to the plate now is going to be Drew Cowley, the shortstop for the Saints from Cal Poly Pomona. Takes the ball there outside. 1-0 the count now here on Drew Cowley. As you mentioned, the Saints will be on the road tomorrow, playing the Ventura County Pirates. He fouls that one back. 1-1 the count now here on Drew Cowley. Reed trying to close this one out for the Foresters. Stay undefeated so far in the season. So the 1-1 pitch now of Cowley is a curveball in the dirt. Now rolls to the fence. 2-1 the count now here on Drew Cowley.
For Reed, this is his second appearance of the season. And Reed went 1 inning in his last appearance, didn't give up any runs. Looks to continue that here, 1 out away from that.
So 2-1 now to count on Cowley. Reed trying to close it out. Fastball in there. Grounded to shortstop up the middle for a base hit for Cowley as he extends this night for the Saints. Running on first base with 2 outs here. Going to go ahead and bring up a pinch hitter now for the Saints from Mid-American Nazarene. Going to be the left-handed hitter, Jacob Jenkins, number 14. So Jenkins, one of the bright spots for the Saints so far this season, did not get to start at the plate for the Saints.
And Jenkins, he bat leadoff last night. He went 2 for 5 in this game with 2 runs. Did strike out 3 times, however.
So the first pitch to Jenkins, a fastball up now. 1-0 the count now here on Jacob Jenkins. So Jenkins, a two-way player for this Saints team, has pitched for them and also can bat and play the field. Reed gets set. The 1-0 pitch now here to Jacob Jenkins is a fastball up. 2-0 the count now here on Jenkins. Reed showing good velocity on his fastball so far, but the command has not been there. So Jenkins sticks to the plate. 2-0 count now here. As Reed blows that one by Jenkins for the first strike of the at-bat. 2-1 the count now here on Jacob Jenkins. Drew Cowley leads from first base. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Santa Barbara Foresters lead the Arroyo Seco Saints 9-3. As Jenkins fouls that one back now. 2-2 the count on Jenkins. So the Saints down to their final strike here on the afternoon. Big play of the game had to be the grand slam by John Jansen of the Santa Barbara Foresters on the top of the 3rd inning. Blew the game open to 5-1 at that point. The Forest is able to tack on a few more runs and lead now 9-3. So the Saints down to their final out, final strike, 2-2 pitch. It's a curveball up now, full count on Jacob Jenkins. So full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Bailey Reed trying to close this one out. As he swings and misses his Jenkins for the final out of the ball game as the Arroyo Seco Saints drop both games against the Santa Barbara Foresters. The Foresters move on to 5-0 on the season and 3-0 in CCL play. The Saints move on to 2-4 on the season and 2-3 in CCL play. The player of the game for the Arroyo Seco Saints is going to be Mitch Kerner, who was 3 for 4 on the afternoon for the Saints. I think the big play for the Santa Barbara Foresters, like I just mentioned, was a grand slam by John Jansen in the top of the 3rd inning. Anthony, what did you take away from this game and so far in this series with the Arroyo Seco Saints?
Well, a lot different than last night's game. This one just a case of missed opportunities. You know, they had a lot of runners on base, and it's kind of a point that you made earlier in the game just about runners left on base. Too many times that was the case tonight, and I mean, showed up on the scoreboard tonight. They lose this one 9-3.
So the Arroyo Seco Saints kind of having a common trend so far, leaving runners on base. Pitchers falling behind in counts, but it's a long season, a lot more games to be played so far this season in CCL play. We'll see if the Arroyo Seco Saints can go ahead and bounce back from a rough start to the season. But nonetheless, the Santa Barbara Foresters beat the Arroyo Seco Saints 9-3. Tomorrow they will be on the road playing the Ventura County Pirates. We hope you tune in. There will be a live stream, a live Twitter on that, a live Instagram for updates on that game. So my name is Stephen Baltiera. Alongside me was my partner Anthony Hollandres. We're signing off for the final time here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Thank you for tuning in.